here we go.
That cartoon.
Welcome to the IDP show. I'm your host, Josh Raymer, joined in the Sode Shack tonight by a room filled with heroes. On my right, Adam Marcum. Across the table, Evan Ronda, Jake Kohlhagen. To my left, Bobby Reynolds and Jon Macri. Gentlemen, how are we this evening?
Doing well, Josh.
What a room we have assembled, Addy.
It's electric.
It is electric. Welcome in, everybody. Gentlemen, welcome to the Sode Shack. Evan, your second time here. Jake, John, you're joining us in person. I mean, the atmosphere is just incredible right now, boys. How do we feel?
Yeah, we're buzzing.
Unreal right now.
Unreal. Atmosphere is electric. Jake?
I can feel it. That's how electric it is.
It is electric. John, welcome to Bowling Green, Kentucky, my friend.
Thank you for having me. It's very excited to be here. This is great. Kentucky's a beautiful state.
It is a beautiful state. Yes, it is.
It's a beautiful people in Kentucky.
There is beautiful people. There is beautiful people. So, Addy,
It's a Marilyn Manson song.
that is the thing that you just said that I don't know how to react to, Addy. And now we're live in front of everyone, so they get to see it as well. But thank you all for joining us here in the Sode Shack tonight. We're probably about, 20 picks in right now, Evan?
Yeah, we just got the 18th pick. It
Okay.
is relevant for our topic of discussion tonight.
Okay, well,
so-
let's just jump right in with the 18th pick, Evan. Who do we got?
All right, with the 18th pick, the Detroit Lions select linebacker Jack Campbell.
Let's go, boys. That is the landing spot we wanted.
Bang.
John, give us your instant analysis here on Jack Campbell going to the Detroit Lions.
I mean, this is the perfect time for us to jump in because it means the death of Alex Anzalone, which is obvious. Not the literal death we would want.
Just
But
the fantasy death.
The fantasy death of Alex Anzalone because the Lions obviously have been running this guy out there every single play for the last 2 years. I think now we could say that Jack Campbell has a chance to usurp the Prince of Asgard and hopefully be the LB1 for the Detroit Lions.
I mean, this is ideal, Addy. You have the landing spot, the draft capital, wheels all the way up for Jack Campbell landing in Detroit.
This was the most athletic linebacker in the class. 998 RAS scores due to 6'4", 249 pounds, 4'6", 40, 6'7", 4'3" cone. Come on. This dude's going to eat tackles. He's going to get 150 tackles easy. I mean, this is we talked about this in the you put the poll out there. This was like the dream landing spot.
The dream landing spot. Nothing in the way except for the Prince of Asgard.
Yeah.
And the Hard Knock Starling and Malcolm Rodriguez. Captain Jack lands in a primo spot. I thought maybe it would be second round.
I thought so,
right?
too. Yeah.
I did not think we would get this sort of draft capital, Bobo. But you got to love Jack Campbell going 18th overall to a primo linebacker needy team.
They knew they needed help.
Yes.
That's what this boils down to.
Yep.
Don't wait, And really, is there that much difference between this pick and the second round? Like, the talent's probably about the same.
They just took Jahmyr Gibbs. They don't give a damn.
Yeah. What was up with the Gibbs pick? Well, we could segue back to
I
that
don't
for
know.
just a second here.
I don't know. It was a shame. They've been doing so well. It didn't seem like a need. They just brought in David Montgomery. Got DeAndre Swift, who surely he's going to be getting traded. Did not seem like a need. I love Gibbs though. We love Gibbs.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a baller.
Weird pick, though.
But odd. You had other needs.
So,
But this is amazing, right? I mean, so where do we think Campbell goes in rookie drafts now?
Dude, I was just thinking that.
He's the LB1.
He's LB1.
Is he worth how quickly behind Will Anderson is he going to go? Is he going to go early second now, mid second?
I mean, we talked with Sig about a possibility of Jack Campbell in the first.
Could you go late first? I was looking back last year. We actually had a draft where Nakobe Dean went in the first in one of those leagues.
That we did. That was probably the earliest Nakobe Dean
so.
rookie draft pick, possibly in the entire country. But
it's going to happen. There's going to be leagues where he does go in the back of the first. I'd say most leagues he'll probably go in the early second. But man, I mean, that seems like a can't miss pick right there.
Really is. Jake, you've got multiple RSO leagues, multiple rookie drafts coming up. You're doing the rookie rankings for RSO this year. Where are you taking Jack Campbell?
Well, I had Campbell as my number one linebacker coming in before all those pre-rankings. So, I mean, this only solidifies that for me. I'm with you. He's early second for me in your standard 12 teams. Yeah, I could see some people getting excited, maybe going as high as late first, but I really hope he fully supplants Anzalone from the jump. Like
that's the question, right? Does he get the job? John, is this guy ready to come in day one and supplant a guy that the Detroit Lions brought back?
I think he is. I mean, we talked about this on the linebacker preview pod with Kyle, and Kyle actually had Detroit as his landing spot.
Beautiful
for him too,
job,
right?
Kyle.
Yeah, coining him as the lunch pail guy with the regular lays.
Yes,
and
the ham
and cheese
sandwich and the Mountain Dew.
Yeah, shout out to
That's a
Kyle.
great lunch.
It is a great lunch.
A+ lunch choice right there.
Yeah. So, I mean, we don't know what Alex Anzalone is bringing to lunch, but I guarantee you it's not in a lunch pail. It's in some weird.
Just a bunch of
ass,
gummy worms
yeah.
and just like chocolate chip cookies,
Hair ties.
and hot dogs.
I thought you were going with those Canadian gummy bears because I've had some.
Man,
of those today,
Macri
and
bought
that's-
us some snacks. You done spoiled us, bringing us down some of the riches
some
from
Hickory
Canada.
sticks.
Yeah, some Hickory sticks.
all dressed
Some
chips, yeah.
yeah, all dressed chips. Doing us real nice.
Yeah.
All
Shout out to
right,
my
we
wife.
got
She's the one that,
our next
Yeah.
pickup, by the way.
Okay,
guys.
we got pick 19. Evan, what we got?
With the 19th pick, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers select defensive tackle Kohlhagen Cansey.
Wow. Okay, nice. So this was probably the number 2 tackle on the board behind Jalen Carter, who we'll get to here in just a little bit. But Cansey, this is the guy from Pitt, right? Unfairly, I think, getting the Aaron Donald comparisons just because of the college. But Bobo, I think there was a little bit of smoke that you could have seen this team go quarterback, right? So you drop a rookie quarterback onto this team, but clearly they saw defensive tackle as a position of need, and Cansey's the next guy up.
Yeah, I guess.
So what do we think?
Evan and me were talking a little bit earlier too. I guess Akeem Hicks is still in Tampa Bay. Is he there or not?
No, he's
They
gone.
signed him
Vita
last
Vea.
year, but
Yeah.
Vita Vea, Logan Hall.
It's okay. I mean, it's a fine pick.
Yeah, Vita Vea and Logan Hall. That's right.
It's a better pick than like Will Levis. I don't really know that you needed a Jackson Smith and Jigba right here. It's fine. I don't hate it. I don't love it. He'll get drafted now. I mean, I think in a rookie IDP, probably talking 4th rounder. Start paying attention to him. Maybe a 5th rounder. Adam didn't like my 4th rounder. He thought that was too high.
I would prefer to go somewhere else. I kind of was in on Logan Hall a little bit this year.
Sure.
Vita Vea ain't going nowhere.
We know that's Johnny the Greek's favorite best ball target, getting Vita late in these drafts. So that's a blow for Johnny the Greek.
But
Mr. Greek.
I do like Cansey, right? I mean, he was 9.6 score. I think the concern with him is he's a little undersized, right? He's 281 pounds, 6'1". But I mean, he's clearly someone that can get after the passer and maybe be like a 6 to 8 sack type of guy.
Yeah.
Isn't this what he needed though? That kind of landing spot to play alongside of someone like a Vita Vea, someone that can actually play in that more.
Yeah,
that
that's
You
true
got to
college
wonder
tackle
how much
spot.
is this guy going to play?
I feel like he's gonna get. They're gonna favor him probably more than Logan Hall. I don't think it's good for Logan Hall.
Yeah.
If you were optimistic about Logan Hall, this isn't great. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, you never know what type of rotation they could do. I mean, we see like defensive tackles get like Philadelphia, like they rotate those guys like between like 40 to 60%. All these guys could get that same type of playing time now.
That's true. So let's kind of circle back here while we are waiting on the next pick to be announced. Of course, since we came on air, 18, Jack Campbell, 19, Kohlhagen Cansey to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Seahawks are on the clock right now, but let's circle back for a second, Jake, and touch on what your Houston Texans did at the top of the draft. As expected, Bryce Young goes number 1 overall to the Carolina Panthers. Then the Texans, surprise, at least what the popular consensus seemed to be, go quarterback C.J. Stroud at 2, and then the trade that sent shockwaves through everyone except for Daniel Jeremiah, who called this in his last mock draft. The Texans trade back into 3 and take Will Anderson. So, sir, as a Texans fan, how are you feeling about your team's draft haul so far?
They definitely overpaid on paper to come back up, but they went and they got the guy that they believe in. They got a guy who looks like a solid, blue chip foundational piece for that team for years to come. They got the coaching staff in place that, they gave D'Amico Ryans, I think, was already a 6-year contract to start with. They're setting up the foundations to try and rebuild this the right way. Is it the right picks? We won't know for a couple of years yet. But as far as the mentality of what they're trying to do, I'm on board with it fully. So let's go.
John, Sig said something interesting, which was that he wasn't crazy about Houston or Arizona as a landing spot for Will Anderson. Addy said, I think he's landing spot proof. I think wherever he goes, he's immediately rocketing up your edge rankings for Dynasty. Where do you come down on that with the Houston Texans being the landing spot?
Yeah, I agree with Adam. I think just being a landing spot proof edge prospect for Will Anderson, everything that he's shown at Alabama shows that he's an elite prospect. He has the pass rush win rate, he has the pass rush grade, he has all the athleticism, the size, everything that you would want in an edge rusher. Will Anderson has it. I think he comes right in. D'Amico Ryan's system, he'll be a nice fit inside of there. And man, as far as guys that are going to be productive on the defensive line as rookies, I mean, it's going to be hard pressed for anybody to be better than Anderson, assuming health. So, yeah, I love it. I think it's a great pick by the Texans, and very high on him for IDP as well.
They're going to get a ton of snaps too.
Oh yeah.
You know,
I mean, there's some other guys there that are like fun late dart throws in best ball with Jonathan Greenard, Jerry Hughes. But I mean, Will Anderson is like an Aiden Hutchinson type of rocket to the top of the rotation in terms of your edge rushers, I think.
yeah, there's a lot of little solid IDP pieces there now. You know, you got Denzel Perriman, who I'm very high on, Jalen Petre. So yeah, they're starting to build that defense. Will Anderson is a great pick. I mean, that's the type of pick that sets up your defense for a decade. You know,
Yeah, and you trade it back up to get this guy and paid a lot. So I think Will Anderson is going to have every opportunity to succeed there in Houston. I love the pick, Jake. I'm excited for you. You got the guy I was hoping to get. CJ Stroud goes at 2, so good job by the Texans. Hate to have to play him now twice a year, but Colts go Anthony Richardson. I think Evan actually filmed my reaction. That was fun. That was the guy I wanted. I wanted the high upside guy. I think this dude's 20 years old, all the tools in the world. He's got the right coach, someone that turned Jalen Hurts into, up until today, the richest quarterback contract in history. So we'll see. I think Richardson is going to play right away. This whole, well, let him just sit behind Gardner Minshew. Now, let's just roll him out there and see what happens. And let the kid play and get better. If we go 5-12, that's fine. We're not going to win the Super Bowl this year anyways. This is about the future, and I'm excited about the future. Let's talk about the next IDP relevant piece, though, gentlemen. Devon Witherspoon goes at 5 to the Seahawks. Paris Johnson Jr. Cardinals trade back in to 6 to pick Paris Johnson Jr. And then at number 7, Evan, I'll cue you up on this one, sir. Tyree Wilson goes to the Las Vegas Raiders. Wilson was getting mocked a lot. At number 2 to the Houston Texans. They go Stroud and then Anderson. So Wilson falls, quote unquote, down to 7 in Los Angeles, joins Max Crosby. Chandler Jones, we saw the graphic on the NFL Network broadcast saying this dude reminds us a lot of Chandler Jones. So it's kind of interesting we see him land in Las Vegas.
Yeah, it is interesting, and they talked about it on the stream as well. They were talking about how he's kind of like this year's Trayvon Walker, a lot like Jake and I were discussing this past week on the IDP After Show podcast. He's more of a developmental prospect as far as his raw tools and athleticism. Not to say that he's not going to be somebody that can be productive day one, but he's not necessarily somebody that's walking in day one as a highly refined prospect. So it's going to be really interesting to see what the Raiders can do with his particular skill set. And he seems like the kind of an asset that can accrue value year over year. And so we can kind of approach him in the same way that we approached Trayvon Walker last season, with a long-term perspective on his eventual growth.
Yeah, Macri, what do you make of this comparison? Because there was a lot of flack that the Jaguars caught for taking Trayvon Walker, number 1, overall last season because of the outrageous athleticism and the perceived high upside. I don't know. Is this a fair comparison for Tyree Wilson?
I think it's close. I mean, you look at the supposed athleticism. I mean, we see it on the field. He didn't test, obviously, at the combine, but everything that you wanted in Trayvon Walker, you also kind of want from Tyree Wilson. You're wanting that development. You want that athleticism to catch up to, or that his pass rush skills to catch up to his athleticism, basically, right? So, he didn't show the repertoire that some of the other pass rushers did in college, but I mean, the power, the length, the size, everything like that is just unreal, and that's kind of what you're betting on. So, taking him at 7, I think is a nice spot. I mean, first overall is definitely a bit of a risk, like with Trayvon Walker, because you're not going to see immediate results. I don't know that you'll see immediate results with Tyree Wilson either, although he did, show a little bit more than Trayvon Walker did in his final year at college. So, yeah, it's a nice spot. I mean, again, the play for IDP, at least in year one for these guys, might be to wait, and then you could buy them in Dynasty after their second year. Like Trayvon Walker, the same thing, buying these guys a little bit after they've been in the league for a bit, when they're about to hit their stride, right before they do. So I think that might be the play with Tyree Wilson as well.
And that's a great situation for Tyree Wilson, man.
Yes.
Getting to be alongside Max Crosby.
And Chandler Jones. I
And
mean,
Chandler
even
Jones, sure,
the
he's-
corpse of Chandler Jones can teach this young kid.
But yeah, I mean, there was no reason for them not to make that move, even though Chandler Jones is there. I mean, Chandler Jones is like, what, 30, 31 at this point? So, I mean.
Feels like he's about 41 after the season that we got last year.
Yeah, he played like that.
Oh,
for sure.
Chandler got paid and just said, I think I'm good.
He did do the thing where he smashed Mac Jones into the turf.
That was
amazing.
sick.
That was like
That kind of redeemed the
maybe
whole
the
season.
coolest defensive moment of the year.
I think that was
So
it.
That counts for a lot.
That counts for a lot. That helped redeem the season. Evan, what do we got? Do we got another pick?
Yeah. So with the 20th pick, the Seattle Seahawks select wide receiver Jackson Smith-Njigba.
Wow. Okay. That's
Not
kind of
great,
gross,
Bob.
boys. Yeah.
Sucks. Yeah. Wow. Okay.
So two of the highly touted rookies, Bobo. I mean, and I don't know, you're not a big fan of the Atlanta Bijan Robinson landing spot. I think around this table we're a little higher on that. But, man, Gibbs landing in Detroit with David Montgomery and DeAndre Swift, and now Jackson Smith-Njigba landing with Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. Not great, Bob.
Will Anderson at 102 is not looking so bad at this point.
That's true.
Um,
Jack Campbell. 103.
Not great, Bob.
there we go.
Not great, Bob.
Thank you, Josh.
You're welcome, Bob.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Bijan's fine. I'm probably just overanalyzing that a little bit. But yeah, JSN behind DK, probably beside DK. Now this probably fades Lockett a bit. I mean, Lockett is 30 years old.
Yeah, is this the Lockett replacement, we think?
Probably. That's pretty fun for Geno. I mean, if you got some Geno and Superflex
Yeah.
locked and loaded for this year. But yeah, going back to the Gibbs thing, that's weird. I keep thinking that maybe we're going to see like a Lions trade where DeAndre Swift is going to the Chargers. I told Macri about that one earlier.
They're going to trade Austin Eckler
Little-
to Detroit.
Little insider.
There you go. Yeah, let's get all the running backs on the Detroit Lions.
But that's gross, though. Overall, that's not great for JSN year one.
They could use a slot Seattle too, right? Like
Yeah.
Lockett and Metcalf playing on the outside,
Yeah.
and then JSN.
Jason in the slot.
Yeah, you're
That's
right.
nice.
They haven't had any, Dwayne Eskridge. I can't remember who else they've had here in
Cade
recent years.
Johnson?
Yeah. Bad.
Yeah. So,
Maureen Terry. We don't need to talk about him.
What is
who?
Did you guys remember Tamorian Terry or whatever his name was?
Oh yeah.
That was a bad joke, Evan. You know
Yeah,
it.
Sorry about that.
So they're gonna let Geno cook, is what you're trying to say, Josh.
I think so. I think this is a sign they want to
did
let
cook.
Geno cook.
Yeah.
He did cook.
Didn't he throw for like 4K and like?
Yes.
I mean, he was solid last
got the
year.
bag. Good for Geno. Let's.
Is he gonna be on like a game next year? Or he gonna be on like I guess 4K is basketball.
4K. That's the TV quality, Bobby.
Isn't there like a? What am I trying to think of?
NBA 2K.
There you go,
Thinking
2K, 2K.
We're in
Sorry.
the year
right.
4000.
We're dads. We're dads.
My
people,
apologies.
if this is your first time joining us.
How do you do,
Lot of
fellow
dads.
kids? Yeah. Let's talk about the next. We mentioned Bijan Robinson at 8 to the Falcons. Next up, IDP wise, was Philadelphia Eagles dropping into 9 to swoop up Jalen Carter. This was rumored that they were hot in the pants for trading up to grab either Will Anderson or Jalen Carter. So the Texans beat him to the punch on Anderson, but they managed to swoop in and get Jalen Carter. Addy, I know you weren't super excited about this one, were you?
Well, just because of what it means for Milt Williams, someone that we
Yeah,
were really
this was
excited about.
a
We
bummer.
Took probably way too much in the best balls. I know Bobby definitely did.
Thank
But
you, Adam.
again, they do.
Bobby definitely. Bobby immediately getting thrown under the bus. Yeah.
They
Back it
definitely, but like I mentioned earlier, they definitely are one of those teams that rotates those defensive tackles. Like all those guys will get some playing time. I'd imagine that Carter is the most relevant of the bunch as far as IDP wise goes. I mean, I think Carter is like legit good. Like that dude moves very, very well for being 300 plus pounds. You know, not like Jordan Davis, who's next to him. He's 340 pounds and like he's just like a run stuffer type. Jalen Carter has pass rushing ability. And yeah, I think we could see like him flirt with like, a 8 to 10 sack season potentially.
But like Macri said, Howie does it again.
Yeah, the rich get richer.
Yeah. Super Bowl, here we come.
That defensive line is disgusting.
Yes.
Yeah, even losing Hargrave. I mean, is this the Hargrave replacement pretty much? Walking
Yeah.
right in?
Pretty much, yeah.
Dang, so if that's if we're getting the
Like,
next
we don't
generation Javon Hargrave,
We wish you well, Javon.
yeah, go get your what was it, $72 million contract or whatever with the
That's
Niners.
Also, side note, that is so sick. Javon
Yeah.
Hargrave in San Fran.
Yeah, we gotta love that. It's a win-win because now we get 2 relevant D tackles. So let's talk about rookie
Sure.
drafts. Well, now we get Javon relevant in San Fran
Just
and
continue on, Josh.
Jalen Carter relevant in Philly. Bobo.
They still have Jordan Davis, too, which is kind of funny. Fletcher
Yeah.
Cox going to stay there just forever.
He's back. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he'll just retire there.
Yeah. They
I
brought
don't-
in like Kentavious Street, Marvin Wilson, the Florida State. I'm not that Marvin Wilson's anything, but that was somebody that was supposed to be a good prospect at one point.
That's their 5 and 6.
Dude, I love it.
Below 2.
I love it still for the edges, too. If you think about for Josh Sweat and for Reddick, I mean,
Oh God. Yes.
oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you can still feel pretty confident about Hassan Reddick. You know.
Yeah.
And maybe it continues to help Nakobe Dean. I mean, he's probably going to be their, linebacker that starts the season, and now he gets to play behind that defensive line.
We'll see. Well, they're going to have some
Yeah,
picks
sure.
coming up, and they could draft a linebacker. If they draft a linebacker, I'd be very scared.
Evan's about to drop it. Did they just draft a linebacker, Evan?
No, not yet.
Nothing yet?
I will butt in real quick though
Yes.
before we get this next pick. So the team technically on the clock right now is the Miami Dolphins, who forfeited their pick, which means I think it's time to reveal today's jersey.
what do we
Let's
got?
go. Cameras over there.
Cameras.
here
I'm
we go.
scared.
Play the camera.
I'm scared, Evan.
Dan Marino.
The Tua jersey coming out. Wow.
Whoa.
Non-participating
Look at
Miami
that.
Dolphins. I will also say I'm wearing this in solidarity with our Jon Macri, as he also does not get to participate in day 1 of the NFL draft.
Well, Macri is no longer a Browns fan.
I'm not, yeah.
Oh, no longer a Browns fan.
So he is freed from any
Retired.
kind of fandom.
Okay.
How does that feel, John? Just to
It
be
feels good.
That'd be a free
I
agent.
really just focus on my fantasy players and
They're your
not
family
give a
now.
shit. Yeah. I invest way
You
too
gotta love
much in
that.
hockey already. as a
Canada
fan,
needs
so-
a team. Let's get a team up there.
And now we
Move
do
the
have a
Bills
pick.
to Toronto.
So my stalling has
Okay.
lasted long enough for the Chargers
Hit us with it 2 and on.
with the 21st pick
Jordan Addison.
to draft wide receiver
St. Flowers.
Quentin Johnston.
Wow.
Dang.
Wow, wow,
Number
wow.
2
Love
receiver.
that. That's a perfect spot.
They love big boys, don't they?
There you go.
Yes, sir.
Mike Williams.
That's just like
QJ.
Mike Williams.
Yep.
Keenan.
Not as good as obviously going up and getting the ball as Mike Williams. Mike Williams is one of the best at that.
He's
So,
also great at falling.
That's
And
true.
injury.
To
He
the
goes
ground,
up well.
Yes,
comes
getting
down
hurt.
falling
poorly.
like he's coming off the top of a
Yes.
building.
he doesn't know how to fall.
Yeah, we got to work on falling.
So that's a great spot.
I want to jump back to
Does Quentin Johnson potentially
He will.
jump up over JSN?
Bobby. That was the guy I was talking. We were talking
Yeah.
about your mock, and I said,
Josh
"Are we
didn't like my
just?"
mock.
I mean,
well,
bro, he's,
no,
he's
I
with
said,
Herbert now.
I said, "Are we just overthinking Quentin Johnston? Are we going to look back on this and be like, boy, we were really wrapping ourselves around the
Well-
axle, talking ourselves off of QJ?"
Your methodology was that QJ has shown some signs of brilliance, and maybe that's all that he needs to have done because, again, now you're going to put him with a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. Don't worry about Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. They're going to be gone here soon. They may be there for 2023, but their time's coming. Keenan's getting older. Mike Williams can't stay healthy. I think it's a solid pick the more I think about it because they keep drafting these Jalen Guytons, these young, like, speedy type guys, and they're clearly not working out. To answer the question in a roundabout way, yes. I mean, you could clearly see. I don't think he'll probably. Maybe he jumps Gibbs now.
Yeah.
You know?
Maybe the top 3 is. I mean, would you put him at 2 behind Bijan?
Nah, probably not.
Still
that
take
high.
JSN.
I still love the talent of JSN, but the situation could be weird for a year. But it's going to be the same.
Better
honestly.
quarterback is
It's gonna
QJ.
It's definitely going to be hard to beat this landing spot. This is going to be one of the better landing spots. So I mean, this is he has
Honestly,
an alpha profile, which is not like a lot of receivers in this draft. There's a lot of just small receivers in this draft. You know, I like a lot of these receivers, but again, Johnston has the highest ceiling, I think.
he also has a pretty
He also has a low floor.
low floor.
Yep, that is true.
He could bust.
So I want to go back to Jalen Carter for just a second. Jake, where are you thinking that you would be willing to take Jalen Carter in a rookie draft? We were having this conversation earlier once the pick was announced. So I'm curious now with a little bit of time to think on it.
Jake has a Justin Jefferson jersey on.
That's right.
Looks very drippy.
So what do we think about Jalen Carter in rookie drafts? If you're interested, Jake, where are you taking this guy?
So, I mean, he's clearly the number one defensive tackle, especially with that location. I mean, you look at what that entire defensive line was able to do for itself working together in those, even in those rotations. I mean, they were super efficient. Everyone was basically like, points for snap, and getting up in some of those high numbers. And now he steps into that, and that rotation is going to be crazy. All that to say, he's number one D tackle off the board in rookie draft and IDP. He's probably going to go as high as mid third, I'm guessing. Probably going to maybe be more in that 3-4 turn.
I could see that
range.
I've got 4 third-round picks. I have no defensive tackles, so I think it will depend from one team to the next, right?
Yep.
But I'm sitting there with like 302, 303, and I think 311 and 312. So I don't know that I'm wanting to risk it to take Jalen Carter at the end of the third.
He won't be there.
So I'm thinking I got to probably fork over one of those early thirds
Exactly.
to get this guy.
301, 302 area.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, if you think about it, right, like you talked about, Jordan Davis is still there, right? He's going to eat up so much on that nose tackle position.
For sure.
And now you're saying, look at a guy like Jalen Carter, what he did, and you're going to give him one-on-one matchups consistently. I just don't know how.
Hey, this guy's good.
I just don't know how he doesn't deliver.
This guy's
IDP
good.
value
Where'd we get
early
this
on.
guy from?
Where's this guy
Where'd this
from?
guy come from,
Hey,
Bobby?
this guy's good here.
I'm just riding on Macri's coattails. It's been fun.
This guy's good,
I
too.
love it.
We're all coasting on Macri fumes
and they're
right
all
now.
taller than you think.
Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah.
They show up, and I'm like, all right, I'm the short guy in the group, apparently.
I do
So
love the Tua jersey. The
what the
Tua
hell's
jersey
going
looks
on?
good. I don't know that I've
It's a
seen
good color.
I haven't seen a Dolphins
It
jersey
looks really good.
in person in a while.
That is literally the only reason I bought this jersey.
Yeah.
It is a nice jersey.
What if he retires? We're going to hang it up in here?
Yeah,
sure. We can
probably.
retire
Hang in
jersey
the
along
rafters.
with
We got rafters. We can hang it from the rafters.
I am worried about Tua.
What is the hex color of this jersey, though? Since
Yes.
I know you updated all the Google Docs. To
Evan,
match
give us the hex
color.
code of the Miami Dolphins teal.
So you guys on the IDP show draft kit, we have these ADPs, and these ADPs have these team icons right next to them, and I set the colors for all the team icons. I Googled all the hex colors for all the different teams.
I don't even know what that means.
I have no idea. I don't have it memorized, but
It's
whatever
beautiful.
it's called,
It's a
called
gorgeous spreadsheet.
I gotta remember what the name of that color is. I'll have to look it up. It's like ocean blue or something,
Ooh.
or teal or whatever.
Say it again.
We'll drop in the comments.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we'll drop
Sound
the
off
hex
in the
code.
comments. What color is the blue in the Miami
Sound off
Dolphins
if you like
uniform?
hex codes in the comments.
Shout out to Evan for the Shaq Leonard jersey on the wall, too.
That's right.
Sir, that's when everything started going real bad, though.
I know. He signed it,
Put
Darius.
Tua in there. Put Tua in there.
To take off your jersey. Yeah, we should mention, of course, Addie's rocking the, you could see it in the camera, it's the IDP show sweatshirt. It's a one-of-a-kind item right there. It's a good one of one.
Yeah, and
It's
I'm
beautiful.
pissed about it, too.
Yeah,
John's rocking
It's a perks of
his,
knowing the guy that did them for us.
yeah, he's
abroad.
rocking a
Where's Jeremy
Canadian hockey. What do we got here, John? What are we wearing?
So yeah, this is a Team Canada World Hockey
Team
Wow, that is about as
Canada.
Canadian as you can be.
2006 Steve Yzerman jersey.
There you go.
Love
we
it.
thought it was Yzerman.
John just brought only hockey jerseys.
That's all he's got.
Yep.
That's my entire wardrobe.
That's all he wears.
It's going to be 85 degrees here tomorrow.
How he's not working for PFF hockey, I don't know. Of course, Bobo's rocking the old school Big Three
Look
IDP
at that.
podcast sweatshirt.
TBT.
It's one of the
That's
few
right.
that didn't get trashed in the wash machine.
There we go.
Love you guys.
And then, so we mentioned Jake is wearing the Justin Jefferson T-shirt jersey.
He your favorite
And
player?
For fantasy, he's my second favorite.
Behind?
Jamar Chase is better. Right?
Behind CJ Stroud.
Jamar Chase.
Will
Wow.
Anderson.
Wow. Sorry, Josh. You're
And I was
looking
going to say,
great,
and
too.
I'm rocking the only linebacker that should be going in the first round tonight, Bobby Boucher, who is the hero
Bobby.
of the Bourbon Bowl for the Mud Dogs.
Classic
So
movie.
that's a great movie.
You want to watch it?
Let's watch it. Let's put it on.
put it on.
We'll see you
Right
guys
on.
later. We're going to go watch Waterboy.
Live reactions.
Evan, do we have any other picks at this point? Or are we still
Not yet.
waiting on,
I'm waiting on the
number
Ravens.
Let's talk about
23?
Let's talk about the one reach, maybe the Will McDonald.
Yeah, what about
Okay,
that?
let's talk about it. Jets at 15 go with Will McDonald the fourth. John, give us the lowdown on Will McDonald because the consensus around the room seemed to be, that's a little bit of a reach there.
Yeah, I think the only thing, I mean, he's a good pass rusher, really good pass rusher. The only thing is he's really undersized, right? He's one of the smaller edge guys in this draft, to the point where maybe he even plays off ball. He's that small.
Wow. Okay.
I think you can use him, but as a pass rush specialist, most likely he wasn't a strong run defender in college. And again, just being that sized, I mean, he's going to get moved off the ball pretty easily, and he did even in college. So facing NFL linemen at the next level, I mean, it's going to be tough for him to be used on early downs. So I'm a little bit skeptical about his IDP value, other than maybe best balls or big play upside type situation, but a very low floor, I would think.
Yeah, and I agree with you totally. The big thing, like, he could find ways to win in run defense at times, it seemed like, but it was always with speed, right? Yeah. And when you're playing against these elite tackles at the NFL level, like you're saying, that's not a way you're going to win consistently and not be able to deliver consistently either. So,
Yeah, just kind of a weird pick. I mean, especially with them taking Jermaine Johnson
I know.
last
Yeah.
year. I mean, I do like Will McDonald. He's one of the older edge prospects in the class, but I mean, 9.66 RAS score. The dude's 6'3", 239, 35-inch arms. I mean, solid, but just weird. I mean, I just feel like that
Doesn't seem like a position of need for this team. It doesn't seem like best player available either.
right. I would have rather than go with one of those receivers.
Yeah,
there,
JSN
Just
there would have
continue
been
to stack
nice.
there with Rodgers, right?
Just traded for Aaron Rodgers, get this guy some weapons.
Because, I mean, they have Bryce Hall, too. They just put a second-round tender on Bryce Hall. Michael Clemens is a guy that's interesting. Like, they have a lot of these interesting pieces there. I mean, this was just I do like Will McDonald. There was some other guys, going ahead of, Nolan Smith, Miles Murphy.
Yeah.
Kind of surprising.
I kind of would have liked Lucas Van Ness there.
Right, yeah.
Well,
That's solid.
He was already off the
he
board.
was he gone?
Yeah, let's talk
Yeah,
about
well,
Still
should've traded up.
Still, though.
that'd have been better.
It's your fault, Sala.
Packers.
All right. We got our next pick here.
All right, Evan, what do we got?
The Ravens, now that they have signed
They trade
Lamar
Lamar?
Jackson,
They signed Will Levis.
they are getting him another weapon in wide receiver, Zay Flowers.
Oh, boo.
And I'll also add the next team on the clock
Got T.
is
Bateman
the
here.
Vikings. And I
Okay.
feel like it's almost a lock to say that they're getting Jordan Addison here, but we'll see how it looks in a couple minutes.
Baby. That'd be,
Be kind of nice.
T.
be nice.
Bateman, T. Bateman. How do y'all feel about that?
I mean, that's not great.
Hey,
Not great, man.
not great for Nelson Aguilar. I'll say that.
Yeah, or Odell Beckham.
Oh,
I mean,
gosh,
it's,
Odell,
it's a
forgot.
fun offense. I mean, but
They're trying.
is Lamar going to pass for more than 4,000 yards?
They do have a
Doubt it.
new offensive coordinator. I think that's important to point
Yeah,
out. Todd
Lamar ain't throwing
Monken
the
is
ball.
in. I mean, he was with some of those Bucks offenses, wasn't he? Am I making this up here?
I thought
Monken?
a few years back,
Yeah.
before he went to Georgia.
Yeah, because he was with Georgia, and I think he was with the Bucks before that. I know Evan Silva was a big fan. I think that was he the offensive coordinator when they were letting Jameis just throw it all over the yard and join the 30-30 club? 30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions.
Yeah.
Anyone else remember that?
That was fun.
That was
That
a
was
good year.
I think
A
that
good
was
year.
Todd Monken as the offensive coordinator.
Mike Evans, like, what a whirlwind those 2 years were. We went from Jameis to Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Like,
Wow.
where am I?
And now to Baker Mayfield or Kyle Trask.
Exactly. It's peaks and valleys
Yeah.
for these
That's right. You
Bucks wide
You
receivers.
gotta stay humble, guys.
You absolutely do.
Gosh, man, that is so gross.
Yeah.
What does that do now for him?
As long as they got
It's
Mark
an-
Andrews there too.
Right, it's not
just-
another. It's,
Isaiah Likely,
it's a lot of those
John.
guys
Yeah,
that
of
run
course.
good intermediate routes, right? That's what Beckham's good at. That's what Bateman's good at. That's kind of what it seems like Zay Flowers is going to have to do since of his size. Mark Andrews, I don't know who's going to.
Also, my boy Devin Duvernay.
Duvernay's still there.
Still holding that stock.
Don't forget about
No, I don't have him.
Double
Andy
D.
Isabella.
Don't forget
The
about
other
Double
Double
D.
D.
Yeah.
Divine Diablo.
Not Divine
And-
Diablo. Never forget about Diablo.
Gosh, that
Divine
sucks.
Diablo.
That sucks.
All right, so let's jump back to Lucas
So,
Van Ness.
Johnston is going to be the 102 behind Bijan.
Shoot, I mean, I hope he's available for me there at 103.
No, I'm taking JSN still.
Still going to take
102.
JSN.
But then there's going to be some questions. Talent-wise, I'm probably still going to bank on Gibbs. I don't know. That's weird.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, you gotta hope that the quarterback
This
situation
feels just like a DeAndre Swift situation all over again with Gibbs. You just got to bank on the talent. The talent's going to win out.
Well, new staff there now. Though,
Yeah.
I feel like.
Oh, my God.
I will also
I don't know,
chime
man.
in. The fact that he was a running back taken in the first round is a massive credit to his predictable outcome. Being a first-round pick as a running back is a massive boost to your just projectable future value.
Top 15 running
Swift
back.
hasn't been able to stay healthy.
Tell
yet.
that to Trent
It's
Richardson.
his own fault.
I think he was a first round.
That was
pick,
a great
wasn't he?
joke.
He was.
Yeah,
He was
thank
number
you. Okay,
4
It was like
number
third
4.
overall.
Okay, thank you. I thought I nailed that.
But
He did.
for the JSN thing. I mean, could you imagine if he was on a team that had like 2 NFL wide receiver level players with him and an NFL level quarterback, and he still managed to put up like 1,700 yards and a bunch of touchdowns? Could that translate to the NFL?
It's a stretch. I don't really see the situations being, that similar. Yeah, boy, some murky. We knew there'd be some murky landing spots, Bobo.
I agree with you, Evan. I think it's still as of right now, Bijan 101, JSN 102. I'm going Gibbs 103, and then I'll go QJ 104 now, unless they take Jordan Addison. Then at that point, Addison is going to
be
trump.
rising.
Yes, he is.
Oh yeah, QJ
Yes, he
will be
is.
high. He'll be taking over Gibbs in a lot of spaces.
I'd say so.
Well, and then you got like what happens if a Charbonnet lands in Miami
Yeah.
True.
or Philly or there's landing spots for
Oh,
some
yeah.
of these other running backs too, right?
Yeah.
So
Chiefs take a running
there's
back.
still
Bills take a running back.
Bills. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, we're getting down to some interesting teams here because these are the Super Bowl contenders. So it's like high-powered offenses: Bengals, Bills, Chiefs, Eagles.
Rams.
So, yeah, don't try to sneak that in there.
Hey, we won a Super Bowl 2 years ago. How dare you? When's the last time anyone won a Super Bowl?
Not that long
exactly.
ago.
Yeah, it was pretty
was a
recently.
long
I mean, I
time
was
ago.
alive.
Like 13, 14, something like that.
Don't act like you
Actually,
remember that year.
2007. It was 2007.
Time is not a thing for
Time
me
is a
anymore.
flat circle. Time is not a thing for me anymore, the 35-year-old dad said. All right, let's talk about the other pick there. Lucas Van Ness lands with the Green Bay Packers, the defensive end prospect out of Iowa. This is, John, one of the most interesting players in the draft to me because the dude wasn't even a starter for Iowa, and now we see him going as a 13th overall pick. So, Reach, does this feel appropriate? Do we like him landing in Green Bay with Rashawn Gary nursing that, rehab? What's your thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Green Bay was probably always going to go edge. It just depended on what their flavor was. And with Lucas Van Ness, it's power. It's very similar to a Tyree Wilson too, right? Like he's not refined. He's not a bendy edge rusher. You could very much see him be kind of one of those pocket collapser, kind of disruptor type guys that, very similar to maybe like a George Karlaftis as a rookie, right? We kind of saw Karlaftis get a lot of snaps, get a lot of opportunity, and be a good player. It didn't always translate to IDP. Again, I might see Lucas Van Ness in a very similar kind of mold, at least to start his career. In playing behind Preston Smith, Rashawn Gary obviously coming off the ACL, but if Rashawn Gary's healthy, I mean, he's an absolute animal. He's still a top tier edge rusher. Preston Smith is the question mark. He's the one getting older, so yeah, it's a good fit. Another one of Kyle B's lunch pail guys, Lucas Van Ness.
Love it.
Yeah. So
He's Iowa, right? I mean, these Iowa boys are just
I like
Lay's
it.
potato chips.
I like it. That's a really good defensive line. Assuming you get Rashawn Gary back to full health. But I mean, Devontae Wyatt's
Devontae
there.
Wyatt's there, that's
we'll
right.
see what he is his second year. Kenny Clark's still there, still one of the better interior defensive linemen in the league. Yeah, man, Preston Smith still can bring it. He had almost 9 sacks last year, something like that. So yeah, that's a really good situation for someone that may not be ready right away. This was a guy that really wasn't like a full-time player in college. So
Yeah.
I mean, you might want to be patient, but yeah, I think this would be like a really sneaky 4th or 5th round pick for you in your IDP drafts.
Agreed.
Do you think that would you have to take a higher pick than a 4th round pick to get him? I mean, are you gonna have to take a 3rd round pick for this guy?
I mean, I think it depends on how the offense shakes out. I think just in a vacuum.
So far, we're trending to where the offense is kind of looking stinky.
yeah, it's a little stink. So I think he could be pushed up into the 3rd as a result.
Yeah, like a late 3rd pick maybe.
Yeah.
And I think people look at or look at draft capital at least, and they'll say, that might not be as familiar with the class, and they'll
Yeah,
say,
true.
14th overall or whatever it was, and then
Look
that'll push them up by itself.
Van Ness reminds me a lot of Karlaftis last year, where there was a bunch of big names like Trayvon Walker and stuff that were kind of in there, and then every once in a while people would pepper in a little Karlaftis, and those the people who picked Karlaftis last year are probably sitting nice and pretty right now.
Yeah, for sure. Lucas Van Ness, 6'5", 272 pounds, 34-inch arms, 9.39 RAS score. So he was one of the better, more athletic edges in the class.
And
This was
as-
an extremely athletic edge class, though.
And as Eric points out here, Van Ness didn't start, but he played the second most snaps on the Iowa D
Yes,
line.
Eric,
So-
the Iowa plug.
That's right. Our Iowa plug.
These are Iowa inside information.
Yeah.
there.
That's right. We've
Speaking of Eric, is he on
yeah,
the board?
Eric is on the board. This is shout out to you, Eric.
Hey guys, somebody call 911. I don't feel so good.
So I don't know what team that was after, or what fantasy manager that was after these picks were announced. Maybe the DeAndre Swift managers
DeAndre Swift.
weren't feeling so
Sean
good
Bateman,
and needed 911 to be
my
called.
RSO squad.
Yes. Eric's just gave us the LOL there on the YouTube. So thank you
That's
for
so
watching,
funny.
Eric. Thank you for being our Iowa plug.
Get
and,
your little gum, Eric.
Don't you ever embarrass me
Yeah.
like that again, Eric.
Thank you for chewing that 30-year-old gum and sending us that.
That was awesome.
That was
An
fantastic.
All-time soundbite right
It
there.
was
Yeah.
very similar to the fruit roll up with the ice cream in it.
Yes,
tonight.
we did have a fruit roll up with ice cream TikTok dessert tonight.
Yeah, we were children.
But shout out Cabbies for the taco bar. We got the draft night party catered by Cabell's Iron Nutrition. So thank you, Cabbies.
I think we're all a little uncomfortable.
We're a little
Full.
lethargic. Our bellies are very full. We might have to start pausing the live stream to take some dumps out in the yard.
Gonna need to get the old septic cleaned out.
Yeah, get it
Monday.
pumped. There's going to be like some toilets flushing all night long. So y'all know what's happening in the Raymer household. But do we have any more picks? We do have a pick, Evan.
we do.
And it is a spicy one. I think Addie's going to like this one a lot.
Oh yeah. So it is Jordan Addison to the Vikings.
Ooh,
What do we think, Addie?
That's amazing. I love that.
Yeah,
Jordan
that's
Addison, I mean,
very
it's-
fun.
Feels like a Devontae Smith type, right? Like seems very frail and tiny, but the dude's just a baller. I mean, you got to trust the tape on this one. And yeah, I mean, when you get to play alongside Justin Jefferson, TJ Hawkinson, Kirk Cousins can sling it. It's a badass offense.
I literally think that I said that in the last mock that Jordan Addison could be a brilliant Devontae Smith to somebody's AJ Brown. And that's a perfect scenario here. I can't wait to watch them catch balls from Trey Lance.
Yeah. And I mean,
Just snuck that in there.
that would be tight. That would be kind of tight.
Can we make that happen, please?
I don't think that'd be good for fantasy, though.
That'd be great.
We don't probably want that.
We don't care, though.
Kurt, the Giants are now on the clock. They've traded up.
Ooh,
Moved
okay.
up one spot, it appears. Swapped with the Jags.
Okay.
Gonna get Trey McBride in the first. Get rid of Saquon.
I mean, that's enough out of you. That's enough. Let's keep talking about our IDP darlings here. So we mentioned Lucas Van Ness. We mentioned Will McDonald. We had some cornerbacks go. Christian Gonzalez goes at 17 overall to the Patriots. And then looks like Devon Witherspoon goes at 5 overall to the Seahawks. Kalijah Cansey we have mentioned here. So I think we're all caught up, boys. I think we've hit most of the picks. Yes, Jake.
Emmanuel Forbes as well. to the
Yes,
Commanders.
thank you. Thank you.
Another
Emmanuel
cornerback.
Forbes, another cornerback as well.
So someone not a Vikings fan. So Addison or QJ?
I think it's still Quentin Johnson.
I think
like
it's
Quentin
QJ
Johnson.
as well, yeah.
I really do, and I think having Herbert definitely helps. And yeah, you guys are right. I mean, Mike Williams obviously can't stay healthy. There's already been talks about Keenan Allen potentially being out. So, yeah, Quentin Johnson. I really like Jordan Addison as well. I mean, he is a little bit on the smaller side, which is kind of the story of this wide receiver class, but. He could do it all too. I mean, he's a guy that proved that he could play inside, outside. He won the Bolitnikov Award at Pitt. He played in
Got
the
Kenny
slot.
Pickett drafted in the first round.
Exactly, and then then he went to USC, played mostly on the outside, and was really good as well. So I think it's a good fit for that Minnesota team. It's close. Those guys, I think. You could make it. I think top 6.
The concern is are they serious about Kirk? Are
Yeah,
they going to
yeah.
keep
Yeah.
Kirk around there? Because if you bring in some young guy, it's not going to be good for fantasy. you know?
Everything I've heard is Kirk is out after this year.
And that's not great. That's the risk there. So that's why I think you go
Fantasy wise,
QJ.
it's not great. But are you kind of done with Kirk at this point? Do you just mind? Is
It
he
depends
okay?
on it depends on who we can get. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm fine with Kirk if we can't get better than Kirk.
Yeah. Sure.
Tune in every week for the IDP show.
This is where we bring you cutting edge analysis just like this. If you can't get someone better than Kirk, you should keep Kirk. What about
true, though.
What about
It's
Trey
true.
Lance? What about Trey Lance?
I mean, that'd be fun. Yeah, I mean, that would be great. But
Didn't you trade Trey Lance to Macri? Am I remembering this correctly?
No, I traded Herbert to Macri because I had Trey Lance. Good job, Adam. Thought about that today. Thought about that trade today in the shower. So,
Hey guys.
yeah, sure did.
Help! Someone call 911.
That is the perfect time for that.
Hey guys,
This is Adam in the shower.
somebody call 911.
Nat's like, "Are you okay,
I
babe?"
don't feel so good.
He just remembered the Herbert trade today.
It was like the dog in the Vietnam meme where he's just he's having flashbacks.
Oh, John got another one over on me.
Those picks help though the offensive side. I feel like they help Addison, they help QJ.
Yeah.
There for a while, it's kind of I don't know.
What do we think about this from Boo Bam? Addison steps into the Thielen role. Chargers have Allen, Williams, Palmer, easier path to targets. So he's saying Addison has a clearer path to targets than
Sure.
Sure, but,
QJ does.
But Keenan is 30, and
yeah.
I
Mike
do
Williams
agree
is-
with Boo Bam here. I also want to note I don't want to overrate situation too much. I believe in a vacuum, Jordan Addison is purely just a more talented, more football ready wide receiver. And so, yes, while it's possible Quentin Johnson can develop into, a Mike Williams type, I think Jordan Addison today, right now, is a better wide receiver, and I think that is going to mean a lot down the road as well.
it's a good take.
I love it,
I like
Evan.
it.
Is
Okay,
he a
I'll
better
allow it.
receiver than KJ Osborne?
What
Yeah, I
about
think
that,
you are.
Evan?
And also T.J. Hawkinson.
Oh,
About that.
and
How about
also
that. How about isn't he 160 something pounds? Also,
Baby.
He was?
Did you just say KJ Osborne there?
that was Macri.
Oh, okay.
Don't you dare put that on me.
No, he's 5'11", 173 pounds.
We do have our next pick, by the way.
What do we got? The Giants traded up
I ought to
for.
let Jake announce this one. He needs to get his time on the mic, and he's the one that saw this one first.
All right,
so-
Jake. What do we got?
Well, coming in, pick 24 for the New York Giants, we have out of Maryland, cornerback Deontay Banks. Nice.
Okay. Another cornerback. So let's go back to talking about some of these wide receivers, guys. If we had, maybe we could. Can we get remote in Johnny the Greek to talk through some of these cornerbacks?
For real.
That'd be great.
Just stream them, guys.
yeah.
I will say it's a great landing spot. They have like nobody at cornerback right now.
All these corners will be
Cordell
useful.
Flott.
Right.
Yes.
I mean, these would all be candidates for us to
you
take
just
in
sneeze?
best balls. Right.
Yes, I agree.
We will absolutely be taking these guys in best balls next year. Not this year, but next year once we kind of see
Yeah, sure.
who's who.
Okay.
You will. Absolutely.
I agree with you.
Now Bobby's not going to do
I'm
it
not trying
just
to
to
fight you.
spite you.
I'm gonna do it right freaking now. I'm on
Yeah.
the clock. I'm gonna draft him right now.
Are you guys on the clock? I'm not in any right
I
now.
am probably on the clock.
How are you
in at
not
least
in any
two of
right
my
now?
I'm not
leagues.
in any right now.
Did y'all see the last?
I wanted to
Evans
wait till
and,
the rookies are
Evans and literally 5 of them.
Did y'all see the last best ball? I think it was 21, where I literally with the last however many picks just went DB.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah, that's what I did too.
It didn't work out so great. It was pretty rough. I should have started maybe a round or two
you
ahead
just
of
picked
that.
the wrong guys, Bo.
Yeah, Bo.
Yes,
You
sir.
didn't pick
My
these
bad.
rookies.
If you're me, it works out just fine. I'll say that.
Tune in every week, folks, for the cutting edge analysis and the yelling.
That's right. Shout out Charles.
Yeah. All right. So, who else want to talk about here? John, who is looking at some of the IDP prospects that have first round potential? Who are some guys that we should expect to see go in these last few picks here?
So I think for edge prospects, I think Nolan Smith out of Georgia and Miles Murphy out of Clemson. Both guys I like a lot. I have Miles Murphy as my number 2 edge. I can't wait to prove how the NFL was wrong and I was right on that one. And then, Nolan Smith, I think I had him at number 3. So obviously landing spot and stuff like that is going to factor into the post-draft rankings, but those guys both really solid. And then, I mean, linebacker-wise, Jack Campbell, as somebody who had money on Jack Campbell as the first linebacker taken, that was a good one.
Hey, look at you.
Yeah, and then Drew Sanders and Trenton Simpson. I don't know that they'll get into the
Cowboys are still up. I mean, that's
Cowboys
one
are
I've seen mocked. So,
Bills just traded up 2 spots over the Cowboys.
uh
And they're now on
oh,
the clock.
Terrell Bernard season about to come to an end.
Terrell Bernard about to be
Too,
Thanos
right?
snapped, baby.
Or
What?
Damian Harris's season is about to come to an end.
Evan's sweating right
Charbonnet.
now.
Maybe we'll see.
Oh,
Charbonnet going first round. Wow.
Not a single
I
tight
doubt
end
it.
has gone yet.
That's
a great
surprising.
point.
That'd be a
Cowboys
nice tight
were
end spot.
looking at Michael Mayer.
Yes. I
Maybe
could see
they're
that.
drafting
Bills.
Will Levis.
It's almost like he works somewhere important.
Man, is Levis going to fall out of the first round? It looks like it, right?
The Saints
trade
still have a
back
pick
up.
remaining.
Huh.
But they have Derek Carr. So why you're taking weapons for Derek Carr to try to push your chips in?
That's true. That's true.
I mean,
they
you
have him
have-
for a while.
So what's the
Somebody
updated
could
order
trade
now
into the
that the
first.
So it's currently Bills, then Cowboys, then Jags, Bengals, Saints, Eagles, Chiefs.
none of those teams are going quarterback, boys?
Nope.
Levis is
Somebody's
falling
gonna
out
trade-
of the
somebody's
first.
Been
gonna
hearing
trade
bad
into the
things
first
about
round.
Mahomes.
So wait, John, you're telling me Reddit was wrong and Will Levis was not going number 1 overall?
It's rare, but apparently
Man.
Reddit was wrong.
Get your stock tips on Reddit, but not your NFL draft tips, apparently.
Oh man, I keep going back to Gibbs as a Detroit Lions.
Bob's real upset. This
I'm
was his
not doing
baby.
real well.
I mean,
gonna
how
wake
are you?
up
Because
in the
this
middle
was
of
your
the
guy.
night.
You put him at 101. Reddit almost burned your house down.
Mach 2.0.
Mach 2.0.
Clarify. 3.0
Yeah.
was
We
Sharper
2.0 did gangbusters.
course
I mean, it was
corrected.
Great,
Yeah.
you know,
thanks for the
But,
views. Sure.
Yeah.
people,
Thank
people
you for
didn't
that.
like it. They didn't come back.
Little edgelord over there, Bob.
Old edgelord
I
Bob.
caught
That's
a
what we
few-
often
I
call
caught
him.
a few over there. It's all right.
So, but
You
Jamar
gotta take
Gibbs.
it.
I mean,
Gotta
Jameer
do
Gibbs.
it.
This is not a worst case scenario because he could have landed in somewhere like New England or Washington, but
I just don't know why. It doesn't
because they
seem
paid
like a,
Montgomery real money.
aside from fantasy, like NFL wise, they had a ton of other needs, in my opinion. Draft a wide receiver, draft a, I don't know, lineman,
Corner.
draft a. It just seems straight. Yeah, corner would have been fine. They just let Jeff Okuda go.
Yeah, trade
Like
him.
you said,
Yeah.
stay in that original slot and just take Carter. Somebody
Oh
said
my
that.
God,
Yeah.
Yes, that would have been. That was the dream. Carter, Aiden Hutchinson.
Man.
Then you
ooh.
go get Jack Campbell. Or would they have had?
totally redeemed.
Would they have still had the Jack Campbell pick? I guess so. I think so.
Yeah, it doesn't show 18 as a trade. I
Yeah,
think
so,
that
I
was
mean-
their original pick, and the one they traded out of was the Rams pick.
Carter and Jack Campbell would have been
Sick.
Well, and if they wanted running back at that point, why they're at 6, they could have just went Bijan too. I mean,
That's
he's
true.
Yeah.
arguably the best running back hands down. Like,
Were they a game
Yeah.
away from the playoffs last year?
Yes, it was at Green Bay.
If they had a
They needed
chance,
Seattle to lose.
oh, that's
but they-
right. They won that game.
yes, they got knocked out because Seattle won earlier in the day.
Good for
So,
Jared Goff, man. Goff has gone there under a really weird circumstance and performed pretty decent.
He's solid. Dude.
Yeah.
He's fine.
Yeah, there's already talk of the Lions maybe wanting to extend him. So I don't know about all that, but good for him resurrecting his career after
Give
that
him like
trade.
a Daniel Jones type deal, like nothing too long term.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 to 3 years.
Goff's not much worse than Kirk Cousins.
No, I mean they got a fun team. They
One
got
more-
3 really good running backs. Jameson
quick
Williams
note
once he
on,
gets off his suspension.
On a
and-
Jameer Gibbs, I don't want to overrate the impact that DeAndre Swift has on him. He's done. DeAndre Swift is done. I don't think they're going to run a 3-headed committee.
Wow.
As much as it pains me to say that, as somebody who loves DeAndre Swift,
Yeah.
Jameer Gibbs is a very similar player to DeAndre Swift. If they felt like they needed a DeAndre Swift type skill set so badly that they had to draft someone with that skill set, that clearly means they don't believe DeAndre Swift is a kind of a player that can provide that for them. He's either just buried on this depth chart and he's only a handcuff, or he's going somewhere else.
And that's a good point, too, about it being a different, regime. Who drafted him? Probably Patricia.
yeah.
Yep.
Let's
you
hand
can
it
see him
off to
get
Jake
traded in the
for this
next
next
couple
pick. 'cause
Jake,
he's
we got a
name.
next pick. Let's do it.
all right, what pick was this now? I'm blank. 25, Buffalo Bills. They jumped the Cowboys for a reason because they wanted tight end Dalton Kincaid out of Utah.
There you go. Okay, so
Love it.
Dawson Knox truthers are grinding their cereal bowls at
They
it.
should have seen that coming.
Yeah.
He ain't nothing special. That's a great pick though. I mean, you love that for Josh Allen. They need some
They need
young
some juice
guys,
on that
and
offense.
Dalton Kincaid is the best receiving tight end in the class. So
Is he the number 2 target in the offense now?
I'd say so.
Ooh, ask Josh.
Well, I mean,
Steph Diggs, number 1. Yeah.
Gabe
and then
Davis.
Gabe Davis, and
Oh, Joshy.
who they brought in another guy at the slot. Who was it?
Isaiah
Deontay Hardy.
McKenzie.
Well,
Jay Hardy. That's right.
didn't they draft
the
a guy
Colts
last
actually
year?
have McKenzie now, funny enough.
Shakur, that's right.
Yeah.
Khalil
So yeah, I
Shakur.
mean, I would imagine Kincaid is going to have a real opportunity to be that number 2 guy.
Does he Does he sneak into first round of rookie drafts, or is that too rich? You go in second round?
People are going to think about it.
Yeah, they'll think
Considering
about
how
it.
disgusting the tight end position is for fantasy.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
people might
Yeah.
just be like, look at this class and say, you know what, like a landing spot like Buffalo.
Give me the tight end for
Kincaid?
Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
I mean, in your tight end premium, he's definitely a
I'll-
first round pick.
I would have liked him to the Cowboys. That would have been great as well. Big tight end friendly
Yep.
offense.
So now do the Cowboys go Michael Mayer? Maybe
Could be.
Could be. I mean, linebacker's still a need. You got Micah Parsons is basically a full-time edge now. You got LVE, Damone Clark. Is Jabril Cox still there?
Yeah.
I mean, not much cooking there. I think
Drew Sanders looked nice.
it's yeah, he sure would.
And them Cowboys.
Bring him off the edge with Parsons. I think that could be a lot of fun.
Dion
We want some
Henley.
more. Yeah, we want some more IDPs to talk
I got a
about
question
here.
for the table actually about that because
Yes.
I'm looking through and obviously we don't have a ton of IDP relevant players taken yet, but I think perhaps maybe one of the more valuable talking points for us right now is teams that were a potential to draft an IDP but didn't, and therefore the players that were on their roster ahead of time have kind of gotten a boost in value simply because somebody didn't join the team. Like maybe the best example isn't the Cardinals, because they didn't really have anybody on the team outside of Cameron Thomas and Majai Sanders. But just kind of, scrolling through some of these teams, like the Bears taking an offensive lineman, like the Titans taking an offensive lineman. Some of these teams that had fringe starting options that, sure, they could be replaced on day 2, but as it stands right now, those players don't have competition edging them out for snaps.
Very well said, Evan.
Well, I think what's key to that too is, Addy, you were talking about it, I think with Sig, right? Like all those top guys, that's first round pedigree, right? So if these guys are falling outside of the first round,
Yeah, that's not great.
are they really that much of a lock to make an impact here as round 2, round 3 capital? I mean, we still probably like them and we'll give them those shots, obviously, but what's the real outcome?
It's true, man. I mean, that draft capital matters, and also just just the perception of it, just being drafted in that first round, going on that first night. It just weighs on, it weighs heavy for a lot of people that aren't as tuned in as us, right? I mean, it's not going to mean everything for people like us, but there's a lot of people that are kind of casual when it comes to Dynasty, and that's where you take advantage of folks like that. It feels real good.
Feels real good to take advantage of those newbies and casuals. Bobo, you out of here, buddy?
I'm Matty.
All right.
Love you, boys.
All right, we'll see you later, baby.
Love you, big dog.
All right, so let's keep it rolling here. What do we think on this Cowboys pick? We don't have it in yet. Jake, Evan, no pick yet for the Cowboys.
Not yet.
Okay, so what do we think the Cowboys do here? Tight end seem to be likely. John, what do you think?
Yeah, I like tight end for them. I think Michael Mayer's a good fit. I mean, he gets the Jason Witten comp quite a bit, so I think they'd be pretty happy with that. Obviously, their current tight ends is like Jake Ferguson, Peyton Hendershot.
Yeah, not great.
Yeah, they got some good weapons there. They brought in Brandon Cooks. They still have Michael Gallup. Obviously, CeeDee Lamb is there. So yeah, man, getting a tight end just fills out that offense nicely. I would like that.
I'll also add a couple top guys available. Looking at the PFF best available list is Brian Branch, Miles Murphy, Joey Porter Jr., FAU perhaps maybe if you like him, or Nolan Smith.
My thinking is if the Bills jumped up in front of the Cowboys, they were thinking Cowboys are going tight end. So let's go get our guy that we want in front of these guys. So now do the Cowboys still go tight end after
Yeah.
getting potentially sniped on their number one guy? Do they pivot?
Or at least the Bills thought that the opportunity cost of the price it would take to jump up the Cowboys justified the chance that the Cowboys may or may not take a tight end.
Yeah, Boobam is saying Michael Mayer is going to be the Cowboys' pick. So I think it'll be, as much as I would love the Drew Sanders landing spot, I think that would be spicy and a lot of fun. Because do we see any other linebacker needy teams here? I mean, Jags, no, I don't think so. You have 3 guys.
God, please no.
Please no, but don't do that to us, Jags. Bengals, not really. They brought back
Pratt.
they brought back Pratt. They have Logan Wilson still. The Saints, I mean, you got DeMario Davis, Pete Werner.
Yeah.
I don't really see that as much. The Eagles,
Maybe. I mean,
the
DeMar
Eagles,
Davis is 34.
Yeah, I mean, I could see the Eagles. I think they're going with one of these edge rushers.
Eagles
they tend
is-
to take defensive line.
Yeah, that would be nice. Get a
be sick.
Nolan Smith at this
Boy,
point.
that'd be
Again,
great.
just
Let's
all these
go.
guys that are falling.
Chiefs will be interesting. Let's just give Spagnuolo another linebacker. Why not? Let's just plunge ourselves further into hell with that team.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, we'll see what the Cowboys do here. John, if you had your druthers, what do you want the Cowboys to do at 25?
I'd go tight end.
Tight end,
See,
yeah.
I don't know that I'd love like a linebacker, or at least one of the top linebackers going there right now. Like, I do think they're going to lean on Van Der Esch again. I think they brought him back because they like him, and it just that scheme isn't great for linebackers, just being so man heavy too, and there's a lot of rotation there outside of Parsons. So Parsons he could also still get some linebacker snaps. You know, when there were times that teams would scheme him out of the game as a pass rusher, they just move him to linebacker and he'd be an impact player there, right? So yeah, I don't know that I want a first round guy going there. I'd probably just go tight end. That was a long answer for
Tight
the
end.
same thing that I said too.
You circled back to it, John, and that was beautifully done.
We kind of mentioned the side little note. We mentioned the Jags linebackers. Where do you guys come down on Devin Lloyd at this point? You know, this is a guy that first 4 weeks of the year last season we were like, oh boy, here we go. We got
Is this
a top
dynasty,
5 linebacker.
yeah, LB1 potentially.
Right. I think we had a LB video.
That was a spicy meatball. He
Yes,
was
that's a shame.
very high.
That's a shame. We run that thing almost immediately.
Yep.
So I mean, at this point, where are you guys at with Lloyd? Are you going out of your way to acquire him?
Jake, what do you think? What do you think on Lloyd?
He's the guy this year still, I think, alongside Foye. So I'd hop in for the ride and see what he gives me this year and hope for the best, right? Because, I mean, obviously they took him, like you just talked about earlier, that first round draft capital buys you a lot of leeway.
Yep.
And so he's got that hanging over him, and the guy in the wings, right, which I loved Chad Muma last year. I was all in on him pre-draft. I'd love to see him get his chance, but I don't see him supplanting him fully this year. They tried that last year. It didn't stick for whatever reason. I mean, I'm not actively buying them. I'm not selling them. I'm probably just, like I said, I'm just holding on if I got them and enjoying the ride for this year and see where it takes me.
What would you sell for if someone came and gave you a second, or is he out the door? You gonna just re-roll and try and find a different linebacker?
I would do it for an early second.
Yeah. Something before 205.
Yeah.
Something
I would
before
send
two.
an early second for Devin Lloyd if I'm contending. I feel
But
like
what
I'd
if
be
that
willing
what
to
if
do
that turned into Jack Campbell?
Yep, I was gonna say if I can replace Devin Lloyd with Jack Campbell. Yep. So if
Yeah,
that's,
absolutely.
if that's 202, 207, right, wherever your league
Yeah.
falls, right? Like you're
You got to be careful. Like, yeah, I'm not buying him for an early second, even a mid second, because there's a chance that Campbell could slip through and be there for you.
Yep.
Do you see Jack Campbell as a safer asset
Yes.
than Devin Lloyd?
Yep. Oh yeah. I see Jack Campbell as a.
I think he's
Top
dynasty
10.
LB1.
I mean, honestly, it's
Let's
not.
just go there.
It ain't that far off, dude. I know we have a tendency to do this stuff and jump the gun.
We're sorry for that.
In this situation, like, those linebackers in Detroit freaking stink.
They're stinky,
They're
John.
not good.
They're massively stinky.
So, I mean, I think it's wheels up for Jack Campbell. I'm kind of comfortable saying he's already a top 12 linebacker in Dynasty.
Okay, where do you all think? Evan, don't look because you may have the doc pulled up. Where do you think Devin Lloyd is going in redraft ADP right now for LBs? LB, fill in the blank.
I'm gonna say LB 27.
27?
21.
21? Devin Lloyd, LB
23.
23. It is LB 28. He's going right in front of Drew Tranquil. So,
That's not bad.
Evan, what do we got? Looks like we got another pick announced.
I was just celebrating how close I
you
was.
were. You actually.
I don't think I like that ADP though for Lloyd.
Is that too high? Too low?
It's too risky for that. I'm just gonna
Think
wait.
you should go later?
I'm gonna wait. Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me a Jermaine Pratt.
Because you got
10 picks
after him.
later.
Well, Tranquil's next, so Tranquil needs to be suppressed in these as well. But you got David Long, Cole Holcomb, Ernest Jones is going as LB 32. I've got Ernest Jones. I think is LB 9 right now on my redraft rank.
Yeah.
So yes, please.
He'll rise too.
Troy Anderson, Brian Asamoah, Demario Davis going after him, Divine Diablo, Singleton. Evan, do we have a pick?
Yeah, so I will say Cowboys fans have probably been a little upset about the sure the sheer volume of edge rushing talent on that roster, but the lack of interior presence. And their new defensive tackle, Mozzie Smith, is going to hopefully shore up that position for them.
Mozzie Smith. John, what do we know about Mozzie Smith?
So, yeah, out of Michigan, bigger defensive tackle, more of like a nose tackle, I believe. He was a really big, like, kind of run stuffer type guy, not much like pass rush upside. But obviously, yeah, it was definitely a need for them. A first round need, I don't know. Not with. I think it's a bit of a reach for what he can be in the NFL, just if he is kind of that nose tackle type. I like Osa Digizua there. I think he'll still have a role, but they had Jonathan Hankins, Neville Gallimore, like guys like that. So Mozzie Smith, I think it's a nice landing spot for him. I don't know that he'll be an overly productive pass rusher from the interior. So
did you see Mozzie Smith in any mock drafts going in the first round? This feels rich.
Yeah. No, John's on the money there. He's 6'3", 323, and he only had a half a sack last year.
Right.
2.5 tackles for loss. So 48 tackles. So, I mean, he is a run stuffer. Like, this is not going to be someone you're interested in IDP leagues, even though he's a first-round pick, right?
Even though I think, to Evan's point, he will help the Cowboys' defense.
Mm-hmm.
This is better for NFL
for sure.
purpose.
For the fellows around him, for
Yes.
Sam Williams and who else did they bring in? Did they bring in someone else recently? Oh, they re-signed Dante Fowler.
Yeah.
He's interesting, I guess.
Tackle McKinley.
Nice for those guys
he
behind
there?
them too, right? So if they do end up bringing in a linebacker there, or with LVE if leading the room, I mean, it's going to keep those guys a lot cleaner too. So we definitely like that for that help for the second level of defense. Fun story with Mozzie Smith too, right? So we had Bob Skowrinski who dressed up as his grandpa earlier. We learned that during
Allegedly.
Allegedly. The fun story with Mozzie Smith, right, is that they actually had to call like an industrial specialist to help enhance all of their strength equipment. Because
Was that the guy?
Yeah, because he was
Okay.
breaking it because he was
Yes.
just putting up too much weight on it. So
That's the kind of thing that makes you a first rounder.
That's
there.
right.
That's
Yes.
what they're like, oh, well.
Well,
that's
you had to get it
We
custom
don't-
equipment. We want that. We want that all day.
They just needed a forklift to pick him up off the bench.
I mean,
spotter.
yeah. Yeah.
I want to stoke the flames of our previous debate just a little bit more. We were talking about Devin Lloyd versus Jack Campbell. I know it's kind of hard to compare across years as far as prospect analysis goes, but do we think that Jack Campbell is just a better raw prospect coming into the league than Devin Lloyd was last year? And then on top of that, kind of a follow-up for Macri, how does the defensive scheme for the defensive scheme for Detroit compare to that of Jacksonville? Because I know Jacksonville runs two linebackers and they run zone coverage at a really high rate, and I don't know how productive the Detroit defense is, so I'd be really curious kind of what your data says in that regard.
Yeah, it's a good question because, Detroit wasn't one of the more linebacker-friendly teams in the league last year. And, it doesn't help having Alex Anzalone being an inefficient tackler already, but just looking at the kind of coverages that they run, specifically, they were one of the man-heavy teams for sure. Them, Dallas, Miami, teams like that. Not that Miami's as much anymore. Well, anyways. But yeah, so not as linebacker friendly. Jacksonville would definitely qualify as a more ideal spot for a linebacker. They were also a little bit more dime heavy too, Detroit last year, which is nice to see from like a coach like Dan Campbell being a little bit more progressive there and getting more DBs on the field. So it leaves less opportunity if Jack Campbell does not somehow beat out Alex Anzalone. But I mean,
He will.
yeah, he has to.
He will.
It's crazy to think
will.
that he can't. Like, no, go ahead.
I think he will at some point in the season. I think we need to temper expectations going
that's
into
fair.
week one.
That's fair. That could easily be the case.
The
I'm not
Tens-
going to be taking him in redraft.
Tends
probably,
decide
still.
on the with the veterans
We'll
early
say
in the season.
Another little thing with Devin Lloyd that I didn't pay enough attention to last year. That dude came into the league pretty old.
Yeah.
He was like already 24
24.
when he came into the league.
That's old as hell, boy.
That's very old. And Jack Campbell's 22.7. Again, the 9.98 RAS score.
Yeah, but I think to Evan's point too, like just if you're looking at the two as prospects, like just raw prospects coming into the draft, I still think Devin Lloyd was the more highly touted prospect.
Yeah.
Than Jack Campbell. I think he was more of a consensus kind of first round pick even though where did he go? He went
was-
after Quay Walker.
He was
went a little
late.
bit
Yeah, he
later.
was
Yeah.
like
Later than Jack
127.
in the
Campbell.
20s.
Yep.
Yeah, Campbell went 118. Yeah, I think honestly, I think after the combine, I think it kind of flipped
Yeah.
for everyone. I think everyone's like, oh, Jack Campbell's got like Luke Kuechly type upside, right? Because I mean, he just fits like
He's an athletic freak.
Does everything
athletic
well.
freak,
Yeah.
but it's not. It's the mental side for him, right? It's just like he's just your classic, middle linebacker.
Lunch pail.
Yep,
It's interesting because
Kind of like linebacker.
and it's a perfect fit. It is a perfect fit for him.
I'm looking at NFL mock draft database. They have consensus mock drafts, which is just kind of fun to see. Like, of all the mock drafts, where do these guys kind of land in terms of the consensus going into the draft? Jahmyr Gibbs was at 28. Will McDonald was at 29. Mozzie Smith, not too far off
Okay.
from where he went. So he would have been the second pick in the second round at 33,
Okay.
according to the mock draft consensus here. So, yeah, Quentin Johnston was 25th overall. Brian Branch was 24th, still hasn't gone. So, Hendon Hooker was 23rd. We still haven't seen him come off the board. Miles Murphy was 20th overall. So, I think some guys that we could still see slot into the first round here. Have we had any more picks, boys?
Yes.
All right, Evan, what do we got?
So the Jags got they got an Oklahoma offensive tackle, Anton Harrison. So that leaves us with 4 teams left: Bengals, Saints, Eagles, Chiefs.
All right, there we go. Offensive tackle. So we've had one linebacker, one tight end. We've had four wide receivers. Zay Flowers, Jordan Addison, Quentin. They all went in a row, right?
Yeah.
20, 21, 22, and 23.
I have a very
That's kinda
strong
wild.
suspicion we're going to see at least one more, probably to the Chiefs.
Ooh, do you like somebody there to the Chiefs, Evan?
Like might be a strong word. I feel like Jalen Hyatt has enough market value
Mm-hmm.
that one of these teams might take a shot on him, but we'll see.
Yeah,
Josh Downs would be fun there maybe too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Jalen Hyatt, I just saw him a second ago. So he was, looks like 31st overall to the Kansas City Chiefs
Wow,
in the mock
look at
draft
ya.
consensus. So that could be fun. And then what else do we have? You said Josh Downs. He was 35th overall to the Colts in this mock draft database.
That Jack Campbell stuff is fun though. Trying to figure out where you rank him among like last year's linebackers. Like,
All right.
I mean, Jack Campbell, Quay Walker. Who you want? Oh, big baby Quay Walker.
Oh, big
Oh,
cry
throwing a big
baby.
old,
I like Jack
throwing a
Campbell.
big old
I
fit
really
in the
like
tunnel.
Jack Campbell. I
Yeah.
like Quay Walker a lot too, coming out last year too. So
Pull up your dynasty ranks. Let's play the
Jack Campbell or
The game.
Devin Lloyd. I know we just kind of answered it, but
I'm still taking Devin Lloyd.
Campbell.
God,
That's tough,
damn
isn't it?
Jack Campbell.
Yeah.
Campbell.
Odd one out here. All right, I'll die on this hill.
And I like Lloyd. I think Lloyd can really have a nice bounce back.
I
year,
agree.
too.
I do as well. But man,
I think there'll always be that
Campbell's got that.
out because of the rookie season.
Yeah, yeah. Campbell's just got. It just feels like just a safer like tackler. You didn't have to
I
contend
worry-
with the foyer.
I
mean,
a little
does-
bit about like a man heavy scheme just because that was like one of his weaknesses was not being able to kind of carry and play that kind of single coverage. Not that he'll have to do it a ton, but he was definitely a lot better in that like more of a zone coverage scheme. So, I mean, not to say that they'll run the exact same coverage as they did last year, but
Yeah,
it's it's nice. It's just so nice to hopefully be done with Alex Anzalone.
yeah.
You want Jack Campbell because of the Anzalone relief that he provides.
Yes.
Let's be honest.
We
here.
all do. Everybody
Yeah,
does.
there's some serious gratitude bias that we have towards Jack Campbell for getting Alex Anzalone out of our lives potentially.
Can we do a little this or that with Will Anderson?
Yes,
and some
please. That'd be
dynasty
great.
Edges?
Let's do it.
I don't have any rankings. Maybe you can
Absolutely.
reference your rankings. I mean, the first guy that comes to mind is like a Kayvon Thibodeau or something.
Yeah.
Like
Boy,
this or
I
that.
think-
Great question.
I think you're splitting hairs with those. I don't think you should lose too much sleep on that one. I mean, honestly, I want Kayvon, Jalen Phillips, and Will Anderson, and I don't. You're splitting hairs.
You really are. These are all
I
your
love them
babies.
all.
Yeah.
I love them all.
I want them
I
all.
love all those guys. We've gotten that question actually recently about like someone was wanting to trade for Will Anderson. They were like, should I give up Kayvon and Isaiah Pacheco or whatever his name is,
Pacheco.
who's about to get replaced.
Luckily,
Isaiah
Bobby left
Sriracha.
'cause he was about to
Yeah.
flip this table.
But I was like, man, those guys are like, that's like a 1-for-1 deal. Like you shouldn't be giving up more for that. Like,
No.
I love both those guys. I would probably say,
I'm probably taking Kayvon just
think
because he's a
Kayvon-
year advanced.
and we know what's around Kayvon,
Yep.
like Dexter Lawrence, ridiculous, and then he's
Leonard
got,
Williams.
Ojolari, Leonard
Ojolari, yep.
Williams. Like, I mean, it's just
sick defense.
Sean Robinson.
it's
a
Sean
sick-
Robinson.
It's a sick defensive line.
It's fine. He's a really good run defender.
Hey, speaking of a sick defensive line,
Uh-oh. What do we got?
Cincinnati Bengals have selected Miles Murphy.
Wow.
That's
Okay.
great. That's great.
So that is very fun. What do we think about that? You were talking up Miles Murphy as one of the remaining IDPs that we should be paying attention to. Now lands with the two whitest defensive ends, and Trey and Sam. So what do we think now?
Yeah, man. I mean, I really like Miles Murphy. I think, people would look at the Bengals starting edges and think that they're okay there, but I think they could use the depth, absolutely. Like, Trey Hendrickson was not playing much on early downs last year. Miles Murphy has the size, the strength, and the run defense ability to play on those early downs and supplant Trey Hendrickson at least early on. And then, as he develops more of a pass rush repertoire, you could see him kind of come in and be the starter there. Because, yeah, he's not a finished product either. As much as I love Miles Murphy, he has this great athleticism. He has great strength, power, good speed, but, needs some work in his technique, in his hands, and everything like that. So there's absolutely room for him to grow and have his role grow over the years, as well as Hendrickson and Hubbard Hubbard just re-signed, right? And Hendrickson had signed from free agency, but I mean, there's room. There's absolutely room to grow there. You don't have to rely on Trey Hendrickson and Sam Hubbard for 700 to 800 snaps every season. They need help there, so I love the pick. Miles Murphy's a nice fit for Cincy.
Yeah, he's a freak, dude. 6'4", 268, 34-inch arms, 4.53 40, 9.71 RAS score. So,
Yeah, I love the pick too. It gives them the depth they need, and the thing that I look at too is next year, 2024, Hendrickson would save them $15 million in cap savings, and they have a little known player that goes for them for Joe Burrow. If you guys have heard of him. He might be
He's
needing a
pretty
big contract coming up here pretty
That's
quick.
true.
So
They can get out of Sam Hubbard's deal this year, save $3.9 million in cap. I'm not saying they're going to do that. Next year, they could save $6 million in cap, cutting Sam.
and even if not, I mean, Trey Hendrickson's not someone that they can rely on defense. He's like a factor in that area. So, I mean, Miles Murphy's going to have an opportunity probably either way.
Yep.
So does this suppress the ADP of Sam Hubbard and Trey Hendrickson even more? Hubbard DL37, Hendrickson DL39.
For redraft, it might, but it probably shouldn't. I still like both those guys for next year.
Yeah.
I think Trey Hendrickson could have a little bounce back. I mean, Sam Hubbard's just great because he's going to get you like 60 to 70 tackles, right? And then maybe flirt with like 6 to 7 sacks. So that's really nice as a defensive or a defensive end too. But yeah, I mean, I think they're probably going to remain they've been decent values. They haven't been too bad.
No, I mean 37 and 39 is not bad
That's
at
good.
all.
Yeah,
Trey
I like.
Hendrickson really late in a lot of the best
Yeah.
balls.
Yeah.
I think I like him a lot for best balls.
He's just
So,
not sexy,
Yeah, right.
right? And
He had a down year. That's
Yeah.
that's what we've been warning about. Like that's how he's going to be. He's going to be up and down, and next year will probably be better.
Do we
that's
have-
how these things tend to go.
It's science.
Yep.
It's really science, Jake.
I did not do good at science.
We know the beakers and the science.
Yeah, I was really good
We
at
know how it
science.
works. Yeah.
Dexter's laboratory. That's
Yes.
for my science.
That's
on.
the extent.
No. So what about Joseph Asai there, right? Because they still got him on his rookie
It's a
contract
shame.
too. And
It's a shame.
I mean, he looked good in the playoffs, other than obviously that last drive
Costing
against
them the game,
Kansas
yes.
City. But
Yeah.
Probably getting cut now.
I think this is a big message to him. Like,
Yeah.
you see what happens.
Look what you did.
I mean, he was what?
Look
like
what
a
you made
third
us
round
do.
Pick? I
Yeah.
remember him because he was pick 69, so I'm pretty sure that makes him a third round.
Heaven is a child, lest we forget.
I mean, he's been a rotational guy. He's like the third guy in the rotation there. You
Yeah.
have to imagine Miles Murphy slots in above him day
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, this is definitely an upgrade there.
All right, so Miles Murphy gets first round draft capital. That definitely makes us feel good for IDP.
Playing
Where does
inside, sorry.
yeah?
I'm just thinking aloud again because I'm. But
Where
yeah, just playing him inside too on like passing downs. I mean, they're interior pass rushers. It's BJ Hill, DJ Reader, but they're not going to be available every single snap. So
Kick him
Miles
inside.
Murphy inside.
Let's go.
I think we have enough info to kind of rank these top 3 or 4 edge guys.
Okay.
How do we do it? I mean, obviously, Will Anderson 1.
Will Anderson 1.
Do we feel
I'd probably put
Tyree Wilson?
Tyree at 2
2
is nice.
still.
Yeah.
That feels good.
And then
Is
do
Van
we
Ness
just go
3?
straight up to draft capital? Van Ness 3.
I mean,
I'd rather have Murphy.
You'd have
you think
Murphy.
you'd rather have Murphy? Interesting.
And then Van Ness.
Yeah.
Okay.
McDonald is not even probably still on the radar. Probably you want.
I feel like Van Ness has an easier path to immediate production, but Miles Murphy, I feel, is a player who has a longer or a better long-term outlook.
Yeah.
Interesting. Because I've been trying to figure out. I think Anderson goes first round in rookie drafts.
Yes.
So my question I've been trying to figure out is what IDPs slot into the second? Because I think these linebackers go in the second round. I think Jack Campbell could sneak into the first in some leagues. I think in a 12-team league, he's probably still going with an early second-round pick, somewhere in that 201 to 203 range. Are any of these edge rushers sneaking into the second round now?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I think you're gonna be able to
Even
get
a
them.
Tyree Wilson, you don't think?
Okay, Tyree Wilson. Yes, I think right now I'm seeing like, so Will Anderson, Jack Campbell, Tyree Wilson, and then like if Drew Sanders gets drafted here pretty soon, or one of these other linebackers gets drafted here pretty soon, I feel like maybe those would be like your second round pick. I still don't feel like people are gonna be maybe a little scared of Van Ness. They're gonna look at the college stats. Same with Miles Murphy. Like these
I think
guys
Murphy and Van Ness probably go third round.
these guys like didn't blow you away in the box score, right? That's what a lot of people are gonna start looking at and stuff. So I feel
think
like
it
you can
really,
get them.
really depends on the other players available. I mean,
Yeah.
there are so many rookies that have yet to be drafted that absolutely will be drafted in the second round of rookie drafts.
Looks like we have a pick, Evan.
Yes, we do.
Who do the Saints select?
So the Saints drafted Brian Brzee.
Ooh,
That's a good pick.
okay.
Back-to-back Clemson guys.
Back-to-back Clemson guys.
I'd say most mocks probably had him going before that,
Yeah.
from what I saw.
Yeah, let's see what the consensus was. They had him going at 30, so this is right in line. They had him going one pick later.
Do we think
So-
this is the injury that pretty much set him back for this year? Because
Yeah, I guess so.
What was the injury?
I thought it was ACL.
Oh, dang.
But because he had it last year, and he came back very slow this year. I mean, you could see it. He looked very, very slow out there to start the season. But he looked better. He looked more up to speed by the last 3-4 games. And I forget which game, one of the last games who they were playing, but he really got a chance to highlight and showcase himself. They were running him all out. They were playing him on the edge. They were playing him interior, as many snaps as they possibly could. Basically, just that, hey, we're going to do right by you as a top tier guy for us and highlight your abilities here before you move on to the next level.
Yeah, it's a really interesting pick. Like former 5-star too. This guy, he was like a top recruit coming out of high school, and it's funny. His draft comp in the PFF draft board is Nathan Shepard, who he'll be playing alongside now.
Okay.
In New Orleans, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, man, New Orleans needed the help. I mean, it's Nathan Shepard, it's Malcolm Roach, it's Kalen Saunders in the middle there. They were desperate for some interior help.
Yeah, it looks like he had a torn ACL, surgery on his shoulder, and a kidney infection. Apparently missed a lot of games.
What's the injury rate for kidney infections?
It's pretty high. It's about 100%. I hate to see it. The ACL injury was in 2021. It was not paired with other knee injuries. Should have a better 2023 season. So, yeah, there you go. 25 games. He accumulated 51 tackles, 15 tackles for loss, 9 sacks, and 1 forced fumble.
Tested very well. 6'5", 298, 4.8, 640, 961 RAS score.
What do we think IDP-wise, John? Does this move the needle at all for you?
Yeah, I like the spot, actually. I mean, especially DT required leagues, I would prefer Brzee over Mozzie Smith.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, I think he would be the number 3 defensive tackle. I still have Kalijah Cansey at number 2. Obviously, Jalen Carter 1.
Is he the David Onyemata replacement? Is that what they're looking at him as?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I try to think through like, okay, we lost this guy to the Falcons with our old defensive coordinator, so we try to backfill that with this guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty good defensive tackle class.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, that's the 4th guy that's gone in the first round, right?
Yep.
Not too bad. So
2 quick questions I
Yes,
wanted
Evan.
to note. I guess just one question. So we've got the Eagles on the clock now. Brian Branch, Nolan Smith, Joey Porter Jr., all still available. But we haven't talked a whole lot about the impact on Malcolm Rodriguez, and I feel like there are a lot of Malcolm Rodriguez managers out there who want to know, is he bench guy now? Is he kicked out?
Or a lot of
is Alex
HBO
Anzalone?
subscribers. A lot of HBO subscribers.
A lot of Hard Knocks
A lot of
fans.
Hard Knocks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he was, he got his opportunity early on in the season, and then like they scaled back his snaps. So as a 5th round pick, you do not want to ever see something like that. I think he was a 5th round pick, right?
Yeah.
And so then
they
you-
pumped
you-
his tires huge. on
Yes,
purpose.
they did.
Yes. And so then you bring in someone like Jack Campbell. It's not good.
It's curtains. It is curtain
it's
for
not good.
Rodrigo.
You gotta-
Drop that guy. Like it's time.
I mean,
You hate to see it because Rodrigo was a fun story, but he got gassed up too much in IDP. People were really overinflating this guy's value, and
he's a 5th round pick. It doesn't work out
it
for 5th round
tells
picks
you
a lot.
what you need to know that they brought back Anzalone and then drafted Jack Campbell.
Yeah.
They are telling you what they think of Malcolm Rodriguez.
Great story, though.
Directors, it's
Special
me.
teamer.
I'm those managers. I'm the one who wants
Yeah.
to know.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, we thought Malcolm Rodriguez could be the low key to Thor, but
Alas.
I took him
No.
in a few of those best balls,
Yeah.
I mean,
He disappeared. Just
in
like
You're
case-
feeling pretty stupid right now, aren't you?
in case this didn't happen.
Yes.
But of course it happened
Of
because
course,
he's a
that's-
5th round pick.
that's
and
what
the other
happens.
guy's Alex Anzalone.
Jack Sanborn, anyone?
Yeah.
I mean, these
We got to stop being so dumb at some point as well, people.
we are so dumb
We are so stupid sometimes.
as a people.
Oh my goodness! And the Eagles have selected Nolan Smith
There we go.
in classic
is.
Eagles fashion.
Truly, this is an Eagles style draft right here.
Seen the same comp for Nolan Smith for pretty much every single draft board. It's Hassan Reddick.
Oh wow. Okay, so they just got 2 of the same guy now, essentially.
Can't keep getting away with this.
I know, truly, it's the Jesse Pinkman meme. Jake, what do you think about this one, man? This seems like a pretty nice little landing spot.
I got to say, I'm surprised he went this far down, especially compared, when Will McDonald went all the way up at 15. But I mean, obviously, I think the big story in leading up to this was his combine, right? Like he just absolutely showed out there. I love what he put on tape. I love just his speed and his bend around the edge is just insane. Like his hand technique and his ability to flatten around there is. It's insane, right? And I think they're not going to be able to double team because now they have Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis and Fletcher Cox in the middle. I mean, they're just not going to be able to line up with all these guys again, right? And they still have Josh Sweat, they still have Hassan Reddick. I mean, it's just going to be what did they always call that with the Giants back in the day when they won the race car package when they just send out Osi Umenyiora,
The NASCAR
Strahan,
package.
and just flying all these guys off the edge just nonstop at them, and they're probably going to be competing for, representing the NFC in the Super Bowl again because of these types of picks. So
You'd love to see, I'm sure the Eagles are thrilled. Nolan Smith was the 10th player on the consensus mock draft to the Philadelphia Eagles. Jesus. And they pick him up at the end of the 1st round. So that's how you do it, John.
it's how you do it. And I mean, just kind of thinking about this defense a little bit, would it be crazy as Nolan Smith is a smaller edge guy, right? And he may not have a lot of experience playing off-ball linebacker, but do you think they use him a little bit at off-ball linebacker?
I could see that. Absolutely.
Right?
I've heard other people talk about that as well.
Because Nicholas Morrow, Nakobe Dean, that's it.
It's not great. Davion Taylor is getting recycled.
Sure.
I think, who's the guy that does all the projections? Is that Mike Clay?
Yeah, right.
Had Davion Taylor as the leaning linebacker for the Eagles.
He had Van Ginkel as like the leading edge guy last year too.
So
Wow.
take it with a grain of salt.
for the Dolphins. Sorry.
Yeah. And Nolan Smith, like he was, for a guy his size, was a really good run defender for Georgia. Like he has some impressive strength to him. Like I don't know how much that would translate to being like a full-time edge in the NFL, but if you maybe use him as an off-ball linebacker, that could be kind of interesting.
And he had some really great plays in pursuit on the backside of run plays too, right? So you look at something where if he's playing that weak side off-ball linebacker, I mean, that's something where that type of skill set or success can translate over, right? So I think that's a great call, Josh. And it'll be interesting who they have at defensive coordinator now that Gannon went to Arizona. It was
the next guy that came up. Like their defensive. I have like a list.
Oh, yeah, we can look it up. But yeah, so it'll be interesting to see where they line him up,
Nolan Smith may be faster than linebackers too. 4.39 40.
What a beast. This is the guy that went banana land at the combine, right?
Yeah. He had
Yeah.
the crazy broad. He had the 41.5-inch vert, 9.23 RAS score. And also, yeah, he wasn't productive at Georgia, but that's a common theme with every single person that's from Georgia.
Yep.
That's
They're
just
too
Georgia.
good.
It's the reason they're half their defense, or hell, all their defense gets picked year in and year out, seems
Yep.
like. So this is just a team of
Sean
freaks.
Desai.
What'd you say?
Sean Desai. Sorry.
Yes, the new defensive coordinator in Philadelphia, right? With what was the tampering thing with Jonathan Gannon?
I don't know.
Basically, the Cardinals' new GM interviewed Gannon while they were still in the NFC Championship or something, sooner than they were supposed to. So they resolved it by making some kind of trade. I don't understand how that was a resolution or what that was supposed to
Yeah, it was
resolve,
weird. They
but
were just like, it was like
yeah.
they were like fantasy. It was like, all right, well, just sort it out amongst yourselves and
Yeah.
let us know what the resolution is. Usually on tampering, the NFL steps in and like takes away a draft pick, you know?
What? That never happens.
Yeah, to and on over there as he looks at the camera, side eye. So the Kansas City Chiefs here, do we think they are going wide receiver?
Honestly, I'm not as confident in that as I was before. I mean, if we look at what they did last season, I mean, obviously they won the Super Bowl, but what was their weakness? I feel like their weakness was maybe they needed some more pass rush. Maybe they could have used some help in the secondary. Like Patrick Mahomes moved the ball down the field, and at this point with the remaining wide receivers, like there isn't a significant enough gap between Josh Downs, Jalen Hyatt, Cedric Tillman, Rashee Rice, Marvin Mims. I mean, all these guys, it's like, is there really that much of a difference between getting a guy here versus getting a guy in the second versus getting a guy in the third versus a guy like Brian Branch? There's only one Brian Branch. You can only get him here, and he's not going to be available at your next pick. Not to say that they necessarily need a Brian Branch, but, I mean, Joey Porter Jr. is still available.
Yeah, it'd be nice. Well, they lost some wide receivers, though. Juju's
Yes.
gone,
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
and you also lost Mecole Hardman.
I don't necessarily
So-
consider those major losses. Sure, they probably soaked up
The
some
Chiefs really
targets.
don't have wide
Yeah,
receivers
Justin
that you would
Ross.
qualify as major losses, though, right?
Justin Ross waiting in the wings.
Yeah.
Sky Moore.
Yeah,
Sky
Sky
Moore.
Moore. We're just waiting for that.
Hey, we can still get that Hendon Hooker to back up Patrick Mahomes.
I was gonna say
stream.
the need was backup quarterback.
It's his boss saying
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, it's true. Was
You
it?
think you want to comment about?
Yeah. What do you know,
I
John?
like Hendon Hooker.
That does.
But
Yeah, he
you
does.
know what I think? I actually kind of like the reasoning, and that's not just being a PFF homer, but like if something were to happen
Yeah.
to Patrick Mahomes, like
Season
you don't
over.
want to use Blaine Gabbert as the starting.
Well, it
quarterback.
Okay,
was.
hear me out, though. Instead of having Hendon Hooker as your backup quarterback, what if you had Will Levis as your backup quarterback?
That's true. But the thing is, I mean, what's his face that just retired played in the freaking playoffs because Mahomes
Anything is
banged
possible.
up his knee, right? So it's like
And also,
Mahomes stays very healthy, but God, you got to have somebody better back there.
yeah. And also, if you're gonna go edge, like at this point, who are your best edge guys, right? And it's just kind of
FAU.
thinned out quite a bit.
It
right?
got picked over in the first round.
Well, these last two picks, right?
Yeah.
they were right there.
Yes.
Miles
Right.
Murphy, Nolan Smith would have been amazing.
Yes.
for Kansas City.
Yep.
Yes. And now you're kind of looking at like
that's nice.
Felix, your boy, Anna Daike Uzama, right? And that was
On a
definitely-
dookie.
That was definitely correct.
Where's Adam? He's on a dookie.
I kind of favor Derek Hall a little bit. I kind of like him.
Yeah.
So I mean, but that's what you're looking at this point, right? So it's all these guys are like, well, maybe Keon Hall, BJ Ojolari, who sucked at the combine, 4.93 RAS score.
What about
Keon
Mike?
White's there, but he's sitting in the green room just.
Yeah,
I like
Yeah.
Mike
Keon
Morris
White.
a lot with Michigan, Mozzie's teammate. I felt like he had a really good last year here, and I thought he would be someone potentially that could come in and make a difference in the edge position year one still.
Morris, yeah.
Yeah.
We got to love Jack Campbell getting that draft capital because the mock draft database has him at number 43 overall. So
yeah. No one. saw
homeboy
their-
had a glow up.
No one saw their stock improve more.
Yep.
Yeah.
BJ Ojolari is at 44. FAU sitting there at 41. Keon White's at 40. So, I mean, they have Jalen Hyatt here at 31 to the Chiefs. So I think your wide receiver kind of premonition wasn't too far off, but we'll see what they do here. It is wild to
It's
me.
Definitely a linebacker.
Yeah, don't you do that, John. Can you imagine Deion Henley and we lose one of our other beloved babies?
Bob.
I mean,
Bobby-
what if they get Michael
He
Mayer to
would
back up
Babe
lost,
Rice.
Travis
yeah,
Kelce?
he lost Nick Bolton. He lost Jameer Gibbs. He lost Deion Henley.
Zach Charbonnet would
Bobby's
be
done.
awesome.
Yeah, Bobby's dead.
I mean, not if you're an Isaiah Pacheco manager, but
Right.
you know.
No, they should have been ready for that.
And again, Michael Mayer to back up Travis Kelce. I mean,
Yeah.
That'd be
that could
fun
be
too.
nice.
Yeah,
I mean, how
Kelsey
many
is
times
like
have we seen a Noah Gray or Joe, what's his face, Fortson touchdown or something like that, right? Like there's
Too often
so
for my
many,
fantasy
Yeah,
teams.
Yeah,
exactly.
enough of that. That is enough.
While we're still waiting for the Chiefs, two things we can discuss, I feel like, at some point tonight. One is kind of leave managers with something to consider as they go into day 2. Like, here's some, teams and situations that you should be looking for. But also, which team tonight, relative to what we expected, just given the draft capital that they had, which team improved their situation the most? I feel like, obviously, we have to say the Eagles because they didn't really have to trade up. And they got all the players that they needed to fall to them. I feel like they're an easy call for win the draft, quote unquote.
They moved up for Carter, right?
Yeah, but like one spot.
Yeah, it wasn't much. I would say the Texans. The Texans gave up a lot, but you came away with arguably the 2 best players in the draft.
Yeah.
You came away with C.J. Stroud and Will Anderson. I mean, yes, C.J. Stroud. Yeah, C.J. Stroud and Will Anderson. If you're D'Amico Ryans, I mean, you got to be fired up. You got a 6-year deal. You got your quarterback of the future. You have some decent receiving options down there. You're building a defense. You got one of the few blue chip guys in this draft now. So I think, Texans, Eagles are the big winners.
Yeah, so those are the 2 teams that had two first-round picks. The other 2 being the Lions and the Seahawks, who probably didn't look as good, especially the Lions, right? Getting a running back and a linebacker in the first round.
Blew it a little bit.
I'm not a fan. I think they could have gotten both those guys. Maybe not Gibbs later, but I mean they had another pick. What at 18? They could have gotten Gibbs there.
They could have
if they really wanted Gibbs.
Yeah. Again, I think the move for them would have been taking Carter and then getting Campbell. That would have been money.
Yeah.
And I am
the
a big fan of the Seahawks getting Witherspoon and JSN. I don't know if we spend enough.
It's not
time
great for
talking
fantasy,
about
but
JSN.
for their team,
That's really
Sure.
good. Yeah, they're big winners in this.
I don't want him to be viewed as the backup to Tyler Lockett. That offense doesn't have a number 3 wide receiver. He will slot right in and be able to transform that offense into something that can run 3 wide receiver sets. But he's so good. And Geno Smith, they want to make him their franchise guy. I feel like that is going to do wonders for their offense.
I mean, the Lions also had the 34th pick, the 3rd pick of the 2nd round. You probably could have gotten Campbell there.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Campbell getting the 1st round draft capital. Don't
Gibbs
get me
there.
Or
wrong.
you could have taken Drew Sanders.
Yes, exactly. But both their picks felt like pretty big reaches.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yes. Both of them positions that are not that important in today's NFL.
That you could have gotten later in the draft.
Just kind of odd.
Yeah, maybe it was the character stuff. Maybe the character stuff with Jalen Carter scared them off to the point that they did not want to take this guy.
Yeah.
I think Jack Campbell just being Dan Campbell's son. Really
That's true. That is true.
That is true.
Yeah.
Is there a
Being a
relation there?
Nepo baby has really done wonders for Jack Campbell's draft stock.
MCJC.
That's another point.
Heard it
too.
here first,
I mean,
folks.
that's Campbell's gonna automatically like this guy just because they share the same last
Yes.
name. Like that's just a fact.
They eat the same
Subliminal.
lunch.
You might not even notice why.
Yes.
Right.
I like this guy.
I love you like a son.
Yeah.
Did he have kneecaps in his lunch pail? Did Kyle?
Yes.
maybe
He
that's
needs to
why?
bring a lunch box with kneecaps in it next time. Yeah, it's going to be like that great draft day moment. He's like the son I never had. You already have a son, Dan.
Yeah.
You don't love him either.
Oh, gosh.
What do we got? We got a pick, Evan?
No, wait, hold on.
The clock is up. The pick is in.
Well,
Where are your
all
sources?
I get is Will Levis did not get drafted in day 1.
Oh,
but
man.
that's not news to me. So we'll
Sauce
have to wait a
Gardner
little
did
longer.
reach out and said, God doesn't make mistakes. Will Levis. But maybe you did eating a banana with the peel on, you freak.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
We did get
Stop.
it here. We did get it.
All right, Jake, what do we got?
Yes. I think it's the Horned Owls, FAU, Felix Anaduke Uzama.
There we go.
There we go.
Okay.
Nice.
So now
How does
Edge
this
really is
impact
thinned
George
out.
Karlaftis' legacy?
That's a great question.
That's a great.
I'm
I think
scared.
It's a fun tandem.
But that's Frank Clark is gone now, right?
Yeah.
Clark
Who
is
cares?
gone.
As we know,
He's a
Frank Clark equal sign ass, according to John. So now you
Regular
slot
season.
in.
in the regular season.
Yes, in the playoffs he becomes
playoff superstar,
you know,
Yes.
yeah. Becomes
Yeah, Frank
transcendent.
Clark is gone. Melvin Ingram is gone. They brought in Charles Omenihu. I do like. I think he is a good pass rusher. But I mean,
Wasn't Carlos Dunlap on this team as well?
that
last
that
year?
was the
He
name I
was.
thinking of. Not
Yeah.
Melvin Ingram.
Yeah, so all sorts of guys I feel like have been
And those
peeled off
guys are
this
all
roster.
old as hell.
Yeah, they were just filling. They were just plugging a gap.
They've got to get some youth into this team, and that's what they're doing.
So
I like
FAU.
those.
I mean, and Karloftis was also into the first last year. I mean, that ended up being a very good pick.
Yes.
Again, Kansas City's one of those teams that they are very good at evaluating talent. And this is a good situation. I mean, you also get to play alongside Chris Jones, who
Yes.
is maybe arguably the first or second best defensive tackle in the league,
Yeah, when you don't let
pass rushing wise. I guess.
Patrick Mahomes make the pick and come away with CEH at the end of the first, I think the Chiefs
Man,
have a pretty good track record.
You could have had Jonathan Taylor.
Yep.
DeAndre Swift.
Yeah. Although he seems.
Stop trying to make Swift happen. It is not going to happen. But let's wrap things up, John, with FAU. This edge group was absolutely picked clean. FAU is the last of the bunch to go to the Kansas City Chiefs. What do we think of the landing spot, the impact for IDP? You like this move?
I do. This one I like. Again, another one of those landing spots that fills a need, and I think Anaduke Uzama, as far as this class goes, like had a pretty decent pass rush repertoire. He had a lot of different moves, whereas a lot of these guys, Lucas Van Ness, Tyree Wilson, even Will McDonald, they were all kind of these one-trick ponies. And where Anaduke Uzama at least had a few different moves that he can bust out. He looked good doing it. 85.2 career pass rush grade, 17.34% win rate, decent pressure rate at 13.9%. And it was good run defense as well, 77 run defense grade this past season. So there's a lot to like about him. I think he's on the smaller side as well. 6'3", 255, somewhere around there.
Solid.
Yeah, so he's a good player. There's still, again, not a finished product. None of these guys are, but I think he's going to get an opportunity there. There's room.
873 RAS score. Look at him as a sophomore, though. 12 games, 50 tackles, 14 tackles for loss, 11 sacks. That is as a sophomore. So we love to see that early production. Also, one of the younger prospects in this class. He is 21.3. So I think that's tied with Miles Murphy for the youngest edge guy. So, yeah, very nice.
Pretty nice. It makes me interested that the Chiefs put their stamp of approval on this guy.
Kansas City knows what they're doing.
They do indeed. So let's talk, boys, about rest of the weekend. We got rounds 2 through 7 coming up on Friday and Saturday. So obviously we know Drew Sanders is lingering out there. We're going to be curious to see where he goes. How we mentioned Trenton Simpson, Brian Branch. Are there some other guys that you are looking forward to seeing where they go? John, I will cue you up first because there's a certain linebacker I'm thinking of that you are quite a fan of.
Yeah, Ivan Pace Jr., big fan of him. I know he's on the smaller side, but if you're looking at linebackers that can kind of do everything, and he can make up for that size with his speed, his quickness, unreal blitzer. He has all the moves to win at the second level and at the line of scrimmage, as long as the team can get over him being a smaller linebacker.
And having no athletic measurables, being the ghost.
Being the ghost.
As we know.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, which team is going to be investing in him? It will be interesting. I think he's worth a second-round pick. I don't know that he'll go there, but that's where I'll be keeping an eye out for him.
You want him to go day 2.
I do.
You're excited for the possibility of Ivan Pace Jr. being a day 2 pick.
Yeah.
Addy, what about you?
I mean, obviously Drew Sanders. That's
Yeah.
who I'm most curious about. I mentioned Derek Hall. I like him quite a bit. Brian Branch, Antonio Johnson. Dorian Williams is a guy that I'm really interested in.
That's my guy. I'm curious this round to see where this guy ends up.
Those
Mega
are the-
producer at Tulane. Very interested.
Yeah, still some really solid guys out there for IDP. You know, these will be guys that you can get in your, I think, 4th and 5th rounds of your draft, undrafted. You know, I mean,
Kind of interesting, John. We saw 0 safeties go in the first round of the NFL draft.
Brian Branch didn't go.
Yeah.
Yep.
I thought for sure. I mean, especially Philadelphia. I thought they had a
Yep.
really nice, a big need there, and it would have been a nice fit. But yeah, tomorrow.
so I mean that kind of drops him probably. I mean, I don't know that is he going to be a 3rd-round pick. I think we talked about that on the SIG episode. Like, is this someone that you're willing to spend a 3rd-round pick on when he didn't get
Landing
first-round
spot
capital?
will still dictate that, but no first round capital is worrisome.
Yeah.
It's not a checkbox in his favor.
I'm gonna
Yeah, I
put some
agree.
money on Sidney Brown as the first safety team.
Oh, but you
Illinois.
can't log in.
Get it.
You can't log
That's right,
into your
that's
app
right.
because you're in the states.
Get down to Portland.
No, it's
I
just.
gotta get back
I
to
think it's
Canada.
just the states. I think he's blocked out because he's in the states now.
You can bet for him. Get down to Portland.
Got you.
Yeah, there you go. Evan will make the bet for you. There we go. All right, Evan, what about you? Who are you looking forward to seeing where they go over the next couple days?
Yeah, there are a couple things. First off, I think I already saw the Steelers GM run the card up for tomorrow to draft Joey Porter Jr. with the next pick. But
There we go.
I mean, Brian Branch wouldn't be a bad pick for the Steelers here either. Obviously, they have quite a few needs, not just that. There's plenty of players that they would benefit from drafting, and I'm just saying that as a Steelers fan, wearing my Tua jersey. The Cardinals with the immediate next pick, I am sure that they're very disappointed in the sheer volume of edge rushers that got taken near the end of this draft, because if you go back and you look at the remaining options at edge, I mean, I got to scroll down a little bit, but we've got where are we? Tuli Tipulotu. I practiced this one earlier, but Adito Miwa Adebware, BJ Ojolari. I mean, we got Keanu Benton on the inside. Keon White, who is still probably sitting at his table at the draft.
He's absolutely fallen asleep in that green room.
Him and Will Levis are just sharing cooking recipes with each other.
Just
I'm
crying on each other's shoulders.
sure. Yeah.
Putting the mayonnaise in the coffee.
Yeah, just eating a banana with the peel on.
And it's a double-edged sword here, because on one end, it's like these guys are clearly not in the same tier of talent as the players that have been taken in the first round, which, by the way, Jake, quick shout out to our episode again, not to pat ourselves on the back, but
You guys are spraying your elbows over there.
we talked about 7 edge rushers on that episode, and 7 edge rushers were drafted in the first round, and it was those 7. So I think we
You guys nailed it.
we kind of crushed that.
Nicely done.
But that also means that the remaining guys are just not at that same level.
Yeah.
So the Cardinals, unfortunately for them, are not going to end up with as quality of a player, assuming that that's where they go with the second pick, which is entirely possible that they don't do that. But if they end up grabbing somebody like that, are we going to elevate them by situation? Maybe a little too much, because they're just going to step into a role day one, but perhaps maybe they don't have as much talent. That's a more nuanced conversation than I think we have time for tonight. But just scrolling down to the draft board, I mean, we have the Rams with their first pick of the draft. They have needs literally everywhere. I mean, and there are plenty more opportunities for good landing spots as we scroll down here. Looking at the Colts, I mean, what are they going to do at safety? Are they going to roll with Nick Cross? Are they going to roll with Julian Blackman?
I hope they bring in some wide receivers.
What are they going to do at cornerback?
Rodney Thomas.
Yeah. This is a place where you got your quarterback. We desperately need some juice on offense. It's Michael Pittman. I mean, that's really it in terms of the wide receiver room. I mean, you brought in Isaiah McKenzie. That was your big splash in free agency. That's just not getting it done. You let Paris Campbell walk to the Giants in free agency. So, I mean, what does this team have on offense in terms of playmakers besides Jonathan Taylor and Michael Pittman? I want to see us, we could use tight end. We could use wide receiver. I want us to address the offense. We could use offensive line help. So I'm not looking defense right now. I want to build around the quarterback. You've got the guy. Give him some weapons. Give him some protection. I think this team was close to leading the league in sacks last year. So let's get this guy some offensive line help. We should mention, yeah, you hit on some of the early picks there. Steelers, Cardinals, Lions, Colts, Rams get their first pick there at 36 overall. Seahawks, Raiders, Panthers, Saints, Titans. So be very curious. I think Brian Branch probably goes in that first swath of guys taken. I think Drew Sanders probably does. Joey Porter Jr. Probably does. So some of these positions that didn't get picked over in the first round.
LB1, definitely Jack Campbell, though. Right?
Absolutely. He's the big winner of the night, right?
Is there anything that could possibly happen that would sway us from that? Like, is there any potential linebacker that could land anywhere in the second or third round that would change that?
So, like, if Trenton Simpson lands with, like, Buffalo or something like that, maybe that starts to enter the conversation, but still, I'd prefer
What if the
Jack
Steelers draft a
Campbell.
linebacker right here with the next pick?
There's just too many people that are solid
Yeah.
there. Cole Holcomb and Lander. I know they're not there long term.
Sure.
Roberts isn't, but that'd be a fine spot. I mean, yeah, that'd be a fine spot. I mean, no one's going to beat Jack Campbell.
I think like Houston would have threatened for it at 33, but they're not in that spot anymore, right? So
I was going to say, I was looking to see if the Texans had a second round pick, and they don't because of the trade up. So,
That's true, and it would have to be like Henley
they're
or
totally
Simpson
okay with
or
that.
yeah. And it's absolutely going to be
we think-
Drew Sanders to the Cardinals now at 33.
oh my god.
Wouldn't that be awful? But now they're moving Isaiah Simmons out to nickel corner. They've got Zaven coming off the edge. So maybe they need a linebacker
Maybe so.
to go opposite Kaiser White.
Yeah, people do forget. We talked about this on Twitter today, but I mean, Zaven Collins, the dude is like 6'5", 260 pounds. I ran his RAS as a defensive end. It was 8.99.
That's beautiful.
So I mean, he just needs probably more opportunity. I mean, he shows that he can do some things when he's given the opportunity. It just
maybe not. Maybe he needs the Hassan Reddick treatments, where it's like, let's not have this guy be a stand-up off-ball linebacker.
Yeah.
Let's get this guy coming off the edge where he's more explosive.
yeah. Now for IDP, I mean, I want him still to be a standard linebacker too. But third downs and
Yeah, let him loose off the edge.
yeah,
there we go.
let's get 300 pass rush snaps. Maybe that'd be solid.
That'd be great.
300.
John's like, what? No, I don't have them calculated for that much. You idiot. All right. So, Jake, who is the player you are looking forward to, or players that you're looking forward to seeing where they land over the next 2 days?
Some of the big ones have been hit for me already. I'm with Macri. I'm all aboard the hype train for Ivan Pace. I feel like
Interesting. You guys have got me very intrigued by this guy now.
yeah, I would love to see him just somewhere like even like the Rams. I feel like would be really interesting to see how they would use him there.
Oh God.
Oh, God.
That would be amazing.
Right. So that's a big one for me. Obviously some of the other names, Dorian Williams is another big one. I guess right. We talked no safeties went. JL Skinner is a real guy for me that I've been kind of really eyeing up a lot here. It was one of those big body box type safeties, and I just loved how fluid he moved at times, right, and how he was able to change and shift directions, playing in that space closer to the line at times. He did have a torn pec injury coming into the combine, but I don't know that is really going to give him a high draft capital chance. But one of those ones where if he gets a chance, maybe in the late third round or something, be a great late dart throw in those fifth rounds or something like that. At least for me, like I said, one of those guys I'm really trying to where he ends up.
It's interesting, John, that it seems like a lot of the offensive guys had their draft stock for fantasy football hurt tonight by landing spots. Did any IDPs have their stock drop after their landing spots tonight compared to what you would have expected coming into the draft? Did anyone fall?
I guess the only one that comes to mind, like I think Nolan Smith, I think he would have been. Well, I thought he was going to be one of the more like highly coveted edges, but I guess that size thing really did knock him down a bit. So I'm a little bit curious to see how Philadelphia utilizes him, especially with so many edge rushers there already. I mean, Derek Barnett, we'll see if he's healthy, but obviously Josh Sweat and Hassan Reddick are very good. Brandon Graham was very good there. I think he's one I'm a little bit concerned about just for usage. I'll see. I'll be really interested to see how they use him, but I think if he would have went in that top 15, playing a very clear edge role, if it would have been Green Bay or something like that, I think that would have helped him a lot. But yeah, I guess I'm a little bit worried about his stock.
All right.
Miles Murphy, maybe.
Miles Murphy, yeah. I mean, it's not an immediate starting opportunity for him too. So yeah, that's another one.
Jalen Carter,
but I do
down at all?
Yeah, I would have preferred Jen Carter go to a better situation.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great for real life, and it's it's ridiculous. It's excessive.
Yeah, there's too much. We need you to stop, Philadelphia.
I mean,
you're hurting
Unusual
us.
punishment.
You really do. I mean, I like to see him go somewhere where like he has a chance to like get like 60 to 70% of the snaps. I just worry that may not be a possibility with all the talent there.
But he's so good too. Like I think he could be effective even on his.
Exactly.
That's what he was at Georgia, right? Like
Exactly.
Georgia rotated their guys heavy, and he's just like a beast.
You saw last year, I mean, all those guys ate. Javon Hargrave had 11 sacks.
Yeah, they had 4 guys over double-digit sacks.
I mean, if you're looking for like the Javon Hargrave of that mix, it would be Jalen Carter.
Yeah,
out of that group now. So
agreed. All right, gentlemen. Well, this was fun. We got to get out here and react to the back half of the draft. Jake and Evan were tipping picks for us.
It's a deep IDP class. I mean, there were so many people we didn't talk about too, like Noah Sewell, like Servasse Dennis, Isaiah Foskey, Byron Young. Yeah, right. The song guy.
The song guy.
DeMarvion Overshone, like Yaya Diaby. I mean, Isaiah McGuire, Nick Herbig. There's a decent amount of interesting
I wanted to
pieces.
say these guys' names.
I was gonna say,
I
Adam
did.
absolutely just wanted to say Savasier Dennis again.
I did. I
Travis
absolutely
Hodges
did.
Tomlinson.
Yeah, the name. This is an all name
Truly, though,
class.
those are solid like prospects. So all those guys are like above average, like well above average athletes. All of them are decently productive, good PFF grades. So I mean, it seems like a pretty solid class.
Yeah, agreed.
Jammy.
Yeah.
Jamie Robinson,
Jammy.
Jordan Battle.
A lot of fun names, boys. Brian Tree Branch.
Just reading off the list.
Yeah, can you tell it's 11:07?
Brian
But
leaves distant cousins.
yes,
Brian Branch.
they are definitely distant cousins. That's a dad joke that tells me we're done, boys. We're cooked.
That's right. That's it.
And we need to go be tucked into bed.
Cut that out if you would.
I would absolutely not do that. We got a lot of work to do on this one. So, but thank you all for listening. We really appreciate y'all spending time with us. We really enjoy getting to come out here, get together in the Sode Shack, and react live to the back half of the first round. We will be back on Saturday night doing the best and worst landing spots pod. So that will be a lot of fun. We'll be able to talk about all these guys that we really haven't had a chance to talk about tonight. So be sure you check out that one as well. And we're going to show these boys a good time, Addy.
Absolutely. Yeah, it'll be, we'll have a few days to let this stuff marinate.
Yes.
And we'll think better on it. Our takes could change easily.
That's right.
In a few days.
Except Jack Campbell,
Never.
number one.
That's right.
Never, ever
Jack
change.
Campbell, no matter what.
Yeah, I'm not going to change. You know that.
That's right. My takes are perfect.
Some may though.
Some weaker men
Right.
may change their takes. But
I'm
gentlemen,
still drafting Jalen Rager.
yes, absolutely. Gentlemen, thank you all for joining us. You traveled all across North America to be here in the Sode Shack tonight, and we sure do appreciate it.
We really do.
We'd like to, maybe make this a yearly tradition. Get the guys down here,
I hope so.
yeah, for the draft every year. If we don't scare them off,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
good chance that
possibility.
could happen,
I think there's
for sure.
already been some terror in the eyes watching us interact before we got on mic.
Hopefully none of them fall into the ravine. We're going to be playing some golf this weekend. So,
Yeah, it could be a little treacherous.
yeah, we're going to try and do our best to take care of them.
We're going to take care of them. We're going to get them back in one piece.
Yeah.
But thank you all for coming down, blessing us here in the Sode Shack. Y'all enjoy the rest of the NFL draft. Enjoy the weekend, and we will be back with you all on Saturday with best and worst landing spots. Until then, y'all take care, and we'll see you soon.
Daddy,